Jazz hands, jazz hands. She still hasn't gone through that gate. Look at her. Don't be like the lady at the gate. Go through it. Enjoy your journey. And if you don't, come here on Sunday night and we're going to get you to enjoy your journey again. Because, you might as well. It's yours to walk. You might as well look at the scenery and smell the roses and be the light, for Pete's sake. If you've drudged around the rest of your life and you were dragging through that mud and you're all down and everything, man, you're doing it wrong. You got to have fun. There's a lot of beauty out there, like that beautiful cardinal, this beautiful music, and these two absolutely beautiful souls that I found to bring in here. I'm going to cry because their energy is just amazing. And combined with this chat and the beautiful energy that you guys put out, it's going to be something else. So I'll tell you what, tonight we're going to hear about things that I mentioned, but I don't get into in depth because it's not my something that I speak on. I bring people in here that know a lot more about it than I do. What I can tell you is this: it's energy and it's all connected. It's all connected. It's energy, your energy, and we're all one. And one way that we can be on this earth at this time, incarnated here at this time, one way that we can learn to enjoy our journeys is by walking every once in a while with people that give off this kind of light, this kind of information, this kind of love, just like you guys do every Sunday and every Monday when you come in here and you give it to each other. So without further ado, I told you the story that I asked my spirit guides because there was just so much going on in my life and so much going on. Everybody, has it and all the energy, and you're just trying to sort it. You're trying. It's like being in the ocean in an undertow and in a storm. You're just doggy paddle, doggy paddle, doggy paddle. So things come at you, and every once in a while you just got to let go and say, universe, what do you need? Spirits, what can I do? Can you guide me to somebody that I can have on the show during the holidays that's going to help give strength out, give ideas out, information, little tools here and there that we can put in our bags. So when we walk on our journey, we go, you know what? That's exactly what I heard. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try crystals. I'm going to get a reading and try to sort. Maybe I'm fighting against the tide like a salmon here, and I don't need to, So all of these different things, I'm going to open this night up to them. And like I said, I told you the story. I reached out to my spirit guides. I said, I need a holiday show that's full of light. Put up your YouTube, and I said, throw me some ideas. And I scrolled up three little windows, and there they were, just starting. I was not sub to either one. I assure you, I am now, and you will be too. I'm sure. And I said, let me watch this, and it was just the right time. The timing is amazing when you let the spirits help you. And I watched, and before you know it, Mr. Dickens came through. Y'all know Mr. Dickens, and what a Dickens he really is, and how smart he is, and all these different ways he's finding to connect with us. And, several of you in the chat, he's gone to visit. It's been amazing. But he came through and he said some pretty profound things. But, and that was not the most surprising. Because he's just that kind of guy, and I kind of, I don't want to say expect it, but his energy doesn't surprise me. He's a cool dude. What got me was the powerful energy of love and warmth and delight is the word that I can only use to describe these two. So without further ado, I am going to bring them on and let them introduce what they themselves to you, what they feel that you need to know about them tonight, because I think this is going to be a very spirit-driven episode. And then we're going to say hi to everybody, and that way I'm calling out your name, and your energy is ricocheting all over the place. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce you to Michelle Rogers and Stephanie Getz. Come on in here, ladies. Let's get you in here. Hello.
Hello.
Oh goodness, these wonderful smiles and this wonder. Oh my gosh, how beautiful. Look at you. All holiday and everything. Isn't this wonderful? Welcome, 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 welcome. And I don't know if you want to go, who wants to jump in first, please introduce yourself and tell the chat here what you feel that we should know about you. I mean, there's so many different outlets that I could reach down and say medium, psychic, empath, intuitive, just the list goes on and on. But I think we always put ourselves in a box, and I think we better are to introduce ourselves and what we're feeling too. So, would you like to start, Stephanie?
Sure.
Welcome in. I'm so excited. I'm just going to shut the hell up.
Thank you so much. My name is Stephanie, and I am the founder and marketing person and scheduler and everything for Getz Spooky Society. So if you like the paranormal, we do a lot of paranormal as well. But I'm a sensitive, intuitive empath. Michelle says I am now a psychic medium and can no longer deny it, although I haven't put it out there.
I agree, Michelle. I'm just again, I mean, first right out of the gate. But see, that's the thing. When people introduce me, that's why I do this, because they all, paranormal expert. I'm like, whoa, beep, beep, beep. Just
Yep.
we have to be comfortable with what people call us. And you're going to get a lot of bacon. Not to interrupt you, but I have to explain the bacon. Bacon is love. I can't explain that, but that's what it is here. So it means nothing but love and just just everything you do that goes with it. So that's all. So you're gonna
Okay.
get a lot of bacons flung at you. Okay, I'm sorry, Stephanie. Go ahead.
I love bacon.
Oh, here we go. Here it comes.
Yep. So, I mean, honestly, I started this journey with the paranormal in the way that I'm doing it now in 2020, the beginning of end of 2019, right when COVID hit. But I've been awakening since 2012. So, yeah, we'll talk about that, I'm sure. But
It's
yeah,
like you get on a rocket ship in this time. It's like you thought it was going to be a nice, scenic walk. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you realize you grabbed a hold of a caboose of a train. It's taken off. And boy, you either get in there and get in the bar car and try to sort it and sit down a minute, take a breath, or you're flinging, in the back like this, fighting it. So
right.
amazing, amazing time, isn't it? It's an
It
amazing
is.
time.
It is.
Michelle, go ahead, sweetheart. You
Hey,
just loved the heck out of that intro, didn't you? You were laughing and smiling. I looked at Stephanie's face and, for a second. I thought, she said, "What the hell did I just get myself into? What the hell's going on?" Go ahead, sweetie.
it was great.
Oh,
Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Rogers. I am a psychic medium. I had an NDE in 2015, and I'm sure we'll talk about that kind of stuff later, which led me into scrying crystals. I was actually spiritually led as part of, I don't know how to explain it, but when I came back into my body, things that I naturally did as a child became enhanced, and there were new things. And part of that was when I was a child, I always, I'm a mountain girl. I'm from Kentucky, and I would go with my grandma to the little creeks and streams, and I would always be called to these shiny rocks. Now, I didn't know at that time they were quartz crystals. But fast forward to now, to 2015, in that moment is when those came into play, and I began having visions of, and it was step by step. I would get visions in steps and of how to scry them, something that I was supposed to do to help humanity. So I'm a retired nurse. I was in an accident, and I had a medical device implanted, and that device caused, I became septic, and had multiple surgeries back to back, and my body just wasn't healing. So that's what happened to me, just for a little bit of background.
quite amazing. It's quite amazing. And you find that so many of these stories, so many people in this chat right now and people that will be listening now and later have that. It seems like so many light workers have dipped their toe in the suffering, the pain, having to get through their own battle and becoming a warrior at the other end. I find the strongest light workers decided to be, no, not a victim, learn from it, warrior now, thank you, next. But who better? I had an elder once tell me, Stephanie and I talked off camera, also brown recluse bit, guys. So they know the whole story, and that we're putting out the word, but it's something to suffer through. But when you go through it and you're I was talking to an elder, and he said, well, you're meant to be a healer of hearts and a healer of bodies, healer of minds. And how are you going to heal a broken leg if you've never had a broken leg? How are you going to heal a heart that's been broken if your heart's never been broken, or never been betrayed, or never been? And is that not just the template for the journey?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So similar, the things that we've all come through, and so many people here, because if you're interested in this, guys, and you're, and you're really seeking your path, that's what I meant in the description of, stop thinking of it as, okay, she does pendulum, this person does tarot oracle, this person does readings and psychometry, and this person does, maybe gets messages in the bathtub, and this person here gets messages while they're driving, or there's somebody in their back seat that wants their attention and they don't know what to do. It doesn't matter the path, it's all connected. It's all connected. But now, how do you guys feel about that? As far as, I'd love to start this with, since you've come up through and different paths to get to where you were, of course, but the NDE of sure, the suffering, the going through loss, the whole thing. When you come through it, you either learn or you just, you're in the gutter, pause up,
Right.
But, coming through all that, they know what I went through as a child, having things and trying to sort it without being able to really talk to people in my generation, in my family. How was it for you coming up as a young person, or did you have any abilities then? Steph, you want to?
Yeah. So being so my birthday is on Halloween, I was kind of lucky.
Like Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just expected it. I mean, I've been called a witch since I was born.
Uh-huh.
And my mom does have abilities.
Okay.
She went to Catholic school. She didn't make us go to Catholic school. I call myself a recovering Catholic. I'm not going to say that I don't believe in Catholicism. I just don't need the church to have a relationship with God. So I would
exactly.
say,
that's how I feel. So same.
Yep. I would say that even though people knew I was different, I kind of clung on to, well, my birthday's Halloween. What do you expect? So I kind of had that as my shield, if you will.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is helpful though.
Yeah.
I could think about it. It's like, what I'm meant to be spooky. I'm meant to have, and it's almost like if you're not having it, they want you to make it up, well, tell us something, you sure you don't see something, you don't feel anything or anything like that. But again, it's very difficult for young people who can't talk to others and maybe get on the wrong path. That's what worries me the most, Michelle. You know what I mean? When they're trying to figure out what's in their closet or under the bed, or what they're seeing or hearing or whatever, or feeling. And then they go on that wrong path. And before you know it, now we got to go in and pull them out of that deep, dark hole, or they have to crawl out of it. And, some of them may have to, as we say, spirit got, that might be their journey. But if we can prevent some with information, how do you feel about that, Michelle? And how was yours?
Well, as a child, I can remember back to age 3. So at age 3, all the way up until I was in my mid 40s, it was tormenting because, I would wake up, and usually around 3 o'clock in the morning every night, I would scream. My mom would have to come sleep with me. But there was religion. It was, and I'm not saying anything bad about religion. I'm just talking.
We get it here. We do. And I mean, you got to pick your own thing that you're comfortable with, that resonates with you. I had to go through, and, not to cut you off, but through mine, I got a sampling of so many. I got to go to temple with my sister. I got to go, Catholic over here. I went to Catholic Light, which is like Methodist, United Methodist. It's just all these different holiness, Southern Baptist, Pentecostal. Those are my favorites because we're having a ball now, and they feed you. But I agree with what you said, Steph. I've never understood the barrier. I never understood the having this, and I'm not saying there isn't special things or things you should act. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying when you want to get to your source, why do you have to have a special key and there's somebody else holding the lock? And if you don't use the right key, you can't get through. That's the stuff I'm talking about, but when you get that core, gosh, you can go tribal Congo and find the core. Life, nature, source, connection, be kind, love one another.
Right.
Don't be an ass. I'm sorry, Michelle, go ahead. But I just thought I'd throw that in there because, we get it. It's wonderful.
No, you're fine. So, and Pentecostal holiness was what I was raised in. And, being in the Kentucky Bible Belt. So what I was told as a small child and all of my life, as I said, up until my mid-40s, basically it was all demons. If it wasn't God, it wasn't an angel, it was a demon.
Yeah.
So, but fast forward to when I was in my mid-30s, actually. I was watching Oprah, and there was a Sylvia Brown that came on, and she was telling
Sylvia.
Yeah, she was telling of how she connected with spirits, and I was watching in amazement. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's what I do," and she made it seem so normal, just normal. But I was always the evil one. I was evil. When I was 18, I had moved out on my own because I couldn't take it anymore. I just couldn't take it. And so my dad and my ex-stepmother and some other people they knew kidnapped me and locked me in a church in a place that I didn't even know where I was because I have epilepsy. So I didn't drive. I didn't have my license yet. So I didn't get out and about to explore places yet. So, but it was because they said I had the demon in me, and, so it was a very traumatic thing, growing up with these abilities. But now looking back, it taught me to be strong, very, very strong. I'm now to the point that I stand up for myself, whether it's family. I don't care what my family thinks anymore. I love them. I appreciate them. But I also appreciate me.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I love that.
Eat
the good cookie. Eat the good cookie.
Yes. Yes.
That's something we say here because, if you're a baker or you're making the cookie as a mom or whoever, caretaker, and you make the cookies, usually those people always eat the broken ones. They take the burnt ones, the ones that aren't perfect, and they give the rest of the family and the rest of the people the good cookie. Every once in a while, you got to eat the damn good cookie. Treat yourself. Is that your puppy want to come in?
I just want to make sure he was sitting out there and not chasing the coyotes or something.
Not chasing.
He's laying out there.
But see, you can see how that strengthened you. You can see how we learned from that. A lot of times it's very shamanistic where, in many of those realms, however, whatever you want to label it, will tell you got to have the darkness. I mean, how are you going to learn to fight with the light, and get as adamant and straightforward as Sylvia Brown was. Now, she got a bad deal in the end there, but that, I believe, my personal opinion, and knowing a little bit about her, it was more of not only a psychic attack, kind of messing with her. She was really, look, when somebody does that much good for that long, and they always focus on the one thing. What about the, 40 years she was out there active, finding people doing this, doing that, and a lot of stuff you don't hear behind the scenes, which is true for many of us. Many light workers go out there and they work and they don't advertise it and put it up front because it's something that they, Yeah, and because you don't want to be ridiculed and pointed at and this and oh, you got this one wrong. I never understood that. And there was a little thing toward the end there with her where I think she was getting the energy and meant something like, well, that person that you knew is dead, gone, because now I'm getting the energy has changed in this kind of thing. And boy, don't you know that that can be misinterpreted 18 different ways to Sunday. So, and again, focus on that, focus on the negative, not, and again, the same stuff. As a young child, you're told everything is bad about this, and I still go to paranormal conventions or whatever, where people are sitting there and telling people that are full of hope, trying to understand this subject, whatever it may be. I saw grandma stand next to my bed. What did I see? Somebody, I'm so glad to be in a group of people that get it. And then you got some schmuck up there telling everybody everything is a demon, or everything is, you didn't see, you had a hallucination. It was a mass hallucination, hypnosis, MK Ultra, I don't know, pick something, but you didn't see grandma.
Yeah.
And they're just on that fence, right on that edge. And now they're leaving crying. They came full of hope. This is what, and Steph and I were talking about that irresponsibility of, and I think a lot of us have stepped forward because we've saw that and go, okay, let's, at least what our footprint we're leaving behind is, these are the cold hard facts. Take them, leave them. You might not understand them now. Your consciousness may not be ready to understand whatever this this minute factoid is in this broad subject, but put it in your pocket, because when your consciousness changes, you'll go, because fact is fact and truth is truth. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it's absolutely wonderful that we can have so many people come on and not only stand for, hey, this is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm doing as a light worker. This is how I learned to use my gifts and, the tools that I've learned to try to throw it out there and help you with something, whether it's communication, helping people through grief, pain management. I mean, gosh, it's an endless list. Now, I'm sorry, I tend to ramble on. I get on this energy and I can't help myself. I just want to hug your face. So were you through? Were you done? Were you good with where you were? Did I cut you off, honey? Be honest. Were you done, Michelle?
Me? Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
with what you wanted to say there. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to give you a chance. So with each of you now coming through all that, and I'm sure we just, tripped over the rocks across the river here. Where did you land, Steph? What is your favorite stuff to do now? Where are you now? And what are you active in doing and using your stuff for? I know that you have your channel. You guys are so much fun. The Halloween one and the hats. I did the same thing because you're having a good time. It's resonating out. The chat's having a good time. So many people, especially through the holidays, don't know what to do and want to be with other people who get it. If they can escape the turkey at the table with family, with Michelle, spot on with the astrology and the Capricorn. I listened to Capricorn today. My stick keeps getting longer, baby. You remember what you said for Capricorn? We all have this sticker. We're doing a 360. Just keep everybody at distance. I got stuff to do. I am so over you people. Just stay back and be you over there. I'm going to do me. That's my stick just keeps getting longer. And I've gotten, like Sylvia, adamant about it. Mm-hmm. It's like, Steph, we said it last night. I'm so tired of trying to prove to people that this exists. You prove to me it doesn't. I'm going to have a cup of tea.
I just changed our description on our YouTube channel to say just that.
Did you? Good.
I did.
Good. Absolutely. I think it should be a mantra.
Yeah. So I would say for me, going through cancer, I was already burnt out from corporate America, from proving myself, going through cancer, almost dying. That was my course correction, because God was already trying to course correct me that I didn't need the money, that I didn't need to do there was so much more that I was supposed to do. I wasn't inspiring anyone. I knew this. I knew I wasn't inspiring anyone. So nobody cared what I was so stressed out about 24/7. Nobody cared. It was marketing. Nobody gave a shit Sorry. If the coupon code wasn't right on the coupon.
Oh, honey, don't be sorry. All that stuff's allowed on YouTube. We just can't talk about the ghost offing himself in the closet.
Okay.
Then you'll take me down.
Right.
A ghost? Seriously, YouTube? I love you, YouTube, but man, the inner tubes, you got some work to do. Go ahead.
Right. So I knew this, but I still wasn't willing to give up my long haul of not going to college and proving myself and all this shit. But then cancer struck. And then I realized when the company I'd worked for 12 years treated me so horribly when I didn't take a day off except for my chemo days. And I was almost stage 4 cancer. And they treated the owner's daughter literally asked me one day, I really need you to stop talking about your cancer. I had a complaint. First of all, I never came out of my office. Second of all, are you kidding me?
Are you kidding me? Everything has changed. People have changed, and there's a separation going on. You feel the pull. You feel the separation.
Yeah.
Everybody is saying it. It's just let them go, but get a longer stick.
Right. So
a longer stick.
Right. So my sister started a Facebook page for me to keep people updated about my cancer, because my family was tired of having to tell the story over and over again. And then all of these people started following me, and they still follow me to this day. And that was 2012. So I went from Team Stephanie Getz, taking everybody through every step of everything I had to go through to try to help somebody else, which I did help a lot of people, to being the marketing director of Pink Ribbon Girls and helping as many women as I can, to then completely leaving corporate America and being a nature photographer, to all of a sudden now I'm like helping spirits and creating crystal grids and teaching people how to manifest their dreams and creating my own oracle cards with
Wowzer, yeah.
It's endless. It's endless. I can't even pick one thing because it's there. I don't think there's anything I can't do. There it is.
Love it. Love it. And did you notice the snowball?
Yeah.
After it's almost like our own personal gauntlets. I mean, really, isn't that life anyway?
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people have more, stuff coming at them, great big boulders rolling and the guillotine swing thing, the pendulum stuff, maybe everybody looks at it different, but what do they say when you're walking through hell? Keep walking.
Yeah.
Keep walking.
I will tell you 2 things that were key to my full awakening. 2 things that were key to me understanding and being able to raise to this vibration and this frequency. Mm. One of them was my past life reading from Michelle, being able to understand my past lives and what I needed to cut the cords of, because I just didn't know. And the other thing was learning how to read my natal chart, my birth chart.
That's incredible.
Absolutely. The 2 most amazing things to help me understand why I do what I do.
Beautiful. Now, just so we don't lose it, are these things that you do for others? I mean, are you to the point where you can do a natal chart? Because I know nothing about, I've seen it, but this is one of the things that I know is very important. But when I started to go down that path, I told Steph last night, it's like, I'll go to learn tarot or oracle, and I'll get a no.
Right.
What? No, what? Not now. Sometimes I'll get a not now. So I've learned to just go, okay, what, then what? Because, this, how about this? Listen, and then they're being really, for lack of a better word, they're getting really pushy. These spirits are getting, it's like, we're running out of time. Get up there and do this one. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And we're really getting those signs. Are you feeling that way, Michelle?
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's why I started my channels. It's been, let's see, I was the paranormal.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. She'll come back.
I know. It's because she's in Kentucky right now and very, very podunk.
Yeah, it's fine.
Can you hear me?
If you're fine. If it just tell, yeah, I hear you. If that happens, don't you worry about a thing. Just go.
Okay, hold on, just
give it a minute. Just check your settings if you can't hear me. Well, I'm telling her and she can't hear me. If you're hearing this through YouTube stuff, just go out and come back in, and don't worry about a thing. It happens all the time. Look at that Christmas tree. Isn't that beautiful? There's the puppy. We can see puppies. Look. Looks so beautiful, hon. I feel so bad. I don't even have anything out yet. We're packing. We're doing all this. And I'm thinking, I just got everything packed. I want to unpack it. I haven't even decided yet. If I do, it's going to be last minute. And that's not like me. I'm like, there's a bow and a bow on every picture. There's this at the door and the mailbox and the stuff in the yard. And there's so much going on. I told you last time, my son's getting married, like engaged a year and a half. And then all of a sudden, 2-week warning before Christmas. God bless him. God bless him. That's kind of my blood. I can't get mad. I know where he got it from.
That's right.
But if she messages, she hasn't messaged me, but let her know it's fine. Just go out and come back in.
Yeah.
Or follow a new. If she needs a new link, and let me know if you hear from her. But so tell us about that. And I'll take this time right now. My mods, my wonderful mods, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for helping out in the chat tonight. And periodically, I would love, I've sent links out. Kathita, if you're out there, honey, and you can hear me, send their links out for the YouTube. And they're also all in the description. If you guys would periodically send those links out there, because listen, in these times we need as much guidance as we can, and these ladies are on spot on. So you want to talk like animal communication. That was interesting last night. If you want to tell me a little bit about that, could you tell me not only the communicating but how to communicate with your living and past? Do you want to touch on that for a moment, especially at the holiday?
Yep, sure. So that was definitely probably the first ability that I had was animal communication. And I literally learned how to communicate and call a horse and ride a horse before I could walk or talk.
Oh, wow.
So,
can you hear okay, sweetie?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I just wanted to, yes, you're all good. You're all good. And if it happens, just don't worry about it. Go back out and come back in. Go ahead, Steph. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So I've always been able to communicate with animals, but when I got Copper, I rehomed him. He's a golden doodle. He was probably they paid a lot for him when he was 8 weeks old. And at 3 years old, they decided her new husband didn't want him. So I took him, and he has leash aggression. And I couldn't figure out, I couldn't reach him. I didn't know what to do. And so I took a master class in animal communication, and I learned a lot more about it. And so now I'm able to not only communicate more clearly myself, but also I do sessions to help people communicate with past animals and live animals. So if you're having issues with your live animal, I can help you with that. I can open. So it's not for me to get I get messages from them, whether they're live or past, but it's for me to teach you how to do it and to open that line of communication with you and the animal.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So I had, and a lot of people say, oh, well, you're a psychic medium, so you can connect with anything. That's not always the case, because sometimes when we're so connected to an energy, sometimes we as being in a human body, physical body, we block that because we want it so badly we can't connect. So I went to Stephanie and I asked Stephanie because I felt guilty because of something that happened to my dog. When I hollered for my dog when I was little, I saw her run across the street and she got ran over. And I always felt guilty for that all my life. Stephanie did not know this. Okay. She had no idea. But I wanted to have an animal communication session. And she connected me with Sugarloaf was her name. And she began to tell me things that I had went through and the guilt. And she started bringing, and I mean, it was like, there was no way, because I had not told anyone online. Stephanie and I, at that point, we didn't know each other very well. So there was no way she could have known. And that was one of the most amazing things I have experienced in my life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I can totally relate. Because you guys did that, with Dickens, even though I was like, I was being a little cheeky monkey because I was like, I was like, okay, this energy is fantastic, but I know I just know that if I reach out, I go, okay, Dickens, show him. You know what I mean? It's like that and go in there. And I also, because he is a very strong energy, it's just something we started before he ever passed. I'm like, we did the whole thing laying on the bed for 4 days going, it's okay if you go, and he didn't want to leave me. And, I mean, we literally had these conversations, long conversations. And I'm like, I don't want to, that's selfish if I say, let's just go together. It's like this one almost took me with him. I mean, we were tight. We were so tight.
Yeah.
And I just have that with animals. I get it. But similar situation, I had a kitten. I was probably 4, 5 on a leash with a collar. And I remember going out in my grandfather's, and happy birthday, Nana. It's her birthday today, by the way. I had a little spirit thing yesterday. I had honestly, be honest, I forgot her birthday. And yesterday I was looking up something and somehow believe it or not, her gravestone popped up and there was her birth date. And I'm like, wow. I found, and I was remembering where she was buried and all this stuff, but I was like, happy birthday. You know how they do. So, anyway, with Dickens, I knew his energy was going to be strong enough to maybe help other spirit animals that maybe were a little shyer, because my mom does the same thing. She'll come in, and if I bring somebody, she'll walk in with their person and go, because her path is so good, worn, known, whatever you want to call it. She's got like a express lane. And I think Dickens is kind of working on his too. So I can see him being strong and going in there and going, go ahead. It's okay. It's amazing how they work on the other side. Is it not?
Yeah.
But I sat down and with a medium, never knew me. And we were talking about something. She's like, okay, well, there's a cat. And I'm like, honey, I ran a foster care for cats. I was a manager at PetSmart, and everything that was going to get gassed that weekend went home with me. I would not allow it. They did that. You know what I mean? And, last chance to adopt. And I would break my back trying to get them adopted and, hold them off and take them home and give them more time and get them adopted that way. So I'm like, there's so many. And she goes, no, this one is. And I'm like, okay, which one? She goes, oh, no, go back. And I'm like, what? Go, keep going. No, you were like 4 or 5. He got away. You felt guilty all your life because he had a collar, and your whole life you think about this and think that he choked to death slowly in these woods. You never found him. She says, no, a man found him. Man was lonely, lived by himself, found the kitten, took him in, became the love of his life. They both had a long life together, filled with love. He's never forgotten you. You were connected, which is why you felt that strong. You were your souls were kind of connected anyway. And she is now one of your, like a little spirit guide that's been helping. And I'm like, and she knew every time you thought about her and felt bad about her and remembered her. And I hadn't told anybody about that.
Yeah.
They find a way. Even on the other side, they care more about us than they do about themselves. They are such strong. Don't ever underestimate the power of an animal soul. I'm telling you guys,
Yes.
It's amazing. It's amazing. But please continue. I had to share that because it's just, wow.
All I really have to say is that I do have a gift to be able to connect people with their animals. And it's a meditation. It takes a half hour to an hour. And so if anybody wants to do that, please reach out to me and I can do that for you. But
absolutely.
I want to
go right ahead
to little Miss Michelle and what she was going to tell us before she got cut off.
I'm sorry, baby. Go ahead. I'm shutting off my mind.
It's okay. I don't even know what it was. So I believe there's no accidents. So I believe it was meant for Stephanie to go ahead and tell what she needed to say. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
It's going to be that kind of night, ladies. I mean, it's like Ricochet Rabbit right now. And then the chat, and I'm just boom, 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 boom. I'm so thrilled. I have been walking on air, for days. My chat knows this happens to me. My strengths aren't able to, I can put up blocks and stuff like that when I'm home and doing this. I've got my stuff that I've put down. I'm so comfortable with this chat. Everybody here is protected. The love that goes around here is absolutely phenomenal. And it's just to bask in that, your energy is just like I said, Ricochet Rabbit, it's like, pow, it's amazing to be here with you. So, all right, both of them have YouTube channels. I want to make that perfectly clear. Can you tell us a little bit about it? And it's Michelle Rogers, psychic medium. Okay. And we'll get that link up for you. And Getz Spooky Society, Stephanie Getz.
Yep.
And you also have a website and Facebook groups and things like that. Tell us a little bit about that, because when everybody didn't know how to zap in on what they're interested in.
I would say, so for me, my first and foremost is YouTube. And everything else drives to YouTube because there's a lot. And so I've got a couple other Facebook pages, like Through the Eyes of a Survivor, and my photography page that used to be my cancer page. And then I've got Witches Be Traveling. I'm one of the admins of that. And so is Michelle. We're part of that as well. We are part of a coven. And then I've got Get Spooky Society, but my baby is my Get Spooky Society YouTube channel. And then I'll let Michelle, what you started to tell us is like what your main focus or gift is, which you're very much like me, but I'll go ahead.
Okay, so my main focus is assisting with missing persons cases. That is something that I feel strongly called to do. I have assisted minimally the past few years. And then for some reason, it seemed like this year, the beginning of this year, I would get one here, and then it was more sporadic, than it had been. But at the same time, they were more in depth, and things kept happening more and more, to where I kept feeling this drawing and this calling to help people, because it just came to me one day. It felt so normal for me. It just felt normal when I was connecting with the spirit that had crossed over, just the normal, because I get awakened all the time. It's normal. And, people trying to show me how they died, or I shouldn't even really say that word, how they transitioned, people who want to tell their story to someone so that they can completely transition, or, whatever their case may be. And it became clear to me one night. I was like, wow, okay, so why am I not helping both sides more? Our realm and theirs. Helping families in our realm who are survivors of a close loved one that's passed or is missing, because sometimes it's just a case that they're missing.
Right.
And what kind of value am I placing on only connecting, letting them tell their story, and then it goes nowhere but me?
Yeah.
See? So it was kind of like an eye opener for me. Hey, Michelle, you need to do something more with this. They're telling you their story for a reason.
And then what did I do? I pop on and said, hey, Michelle, I need you to help me with a couple things. And then all of a sudden, we're following this.
Yeah. And, I think it's the timing too. It's the ascension. It's the awakening. It's this separation. We talked about it last night, Steph and I, about this feeling of the stand, the pull, where we're in spiritual warfare. However you want to, it's a fact. It is, and I've had people go, I don't feel like I'm in, honey, you in it. I don't know what part you playing. I don't know where your head is at this time. But if you're telling me, I don't feel like there's spiritual warfare right now, everybody sees things differerently. Everybody's vantage point is going to be different. Everybody's effect is going to be delivered. The only thing I can say, the scariest thing for me to say right there is like, because it's coming. If it hasn't hit you yet, it's gonna, because a lot of us have been riding it for decades at this point, and seeing this coming and getting warnings and getting dreams and getting, wake up like you did, Michelle, and everybody here, seems to have had, and people in the chat. and all find in different ways. It might have been joining a paranormal investigative group to try to understand ghosts and the effects of a haunting, or getting evidence of a haunting and trying to sort the history and everything else. We don't know what level people are starting at, or that kid trying to figure out what they're seeing in the closet or what they're hearing, and going down, let me get a Ouija board. Let me do it myself. Now I'm gonna start. Now I've got a vortex in the kitchen. You've opened a portal or whatever, because you never know. Some things just need a little tap. Like Steph, you and I were talking again last night about the Black Hope Cemetery, and we touched on that. And I was so exhausted doing that show, but I had to get that story out, and I was just drained from the week, and just it devastated me to think, one, we care so little about other human beings and think that time is nothing, it's just bones, or it's just this, and in reality it really is. But there's a respect there, right? And there's definite effects on land, battles and sour soil and sacred lands and things, holy land. I mean, you can't believe that a cemetery is sacred and that land is blessed, and not believe the opposite can be true. We people that cherry pick this stuff, you got to take the whole enchilada, kids, because it's all there, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the beautiful, and the miracles, and the signs, and the smiles. And I love what you said, Michelle, about we cannot do it for ourselves. When you're emotionally attached to something, that's something goes around my circle big time. Somebody will call me and go, look, I can't do this for myself, what do you see? And I'm, whoa, okay, I got it. This is what, and then we'll pass it around like that, because none of us can, if you're close to it. And I don't think we're supposed to. For the same, do you feel it similar, that also when we're grieving and angry and jealous and all this, we're actually, all of those heavy, I call them rocks in your pocket kind of things on your soul, that keeps us from connecting to loved ones and keeps them from being able to leave and stay and ascend off, because we keep dragging them back, cutting cords, things like this. You want to speak on that, Steph, if you'd like to jump in, or Michelle, either one?
Oh, I have a similar, we've grown apart because we're at totally different levels, frequencies in our life right now, but she was my best friend. So they were my West Coast family, and I'm her East Coast family. She lives in California. And I went out there 2 years ago in April to help move her parents down from Yosemite down to the valley in Chowchilla, because he had dementia. And it was a very hard week. And then I want to say that was in April, that September he passed. And they used to hunt, big game hunt. And so she decided when they moved, she didn't want all of her mounts and all of his mounts and the bearskin and all that stuff. It didn't go in Chowchilla. Okay, whatever. So she was researching the different ones that nobody wanted. She gave, to family and friends, whatever they wanted. And then the ones that nobody wanted, she had this black ram head. And it was the ugliest thing I ever saw in my life. And I'm an animal lover, but I did not want this thing on my wall. And she tells me when I come out there, it's rare. She says, I found out it's rare. And so I'm going to ship it out to you, and you can put it up in your great room. My ex's deer is above me, which is only there because I don't get a ladder to get in here and get it down. So she wanted me to put it on the other side. So anyway, long story short, what am I going to tell her? Her dad's dying. So she sends it out to me, and then my dad says, we got to get that put up there, in case she comes. She usually comes around November, December. So we put it up there. Now, it had a triangle hole in the back, and we put it on a hook. There is no way this thing is going to come off there like this. It had to come up and down. So after her dad died, she says to me, has Dad come to you? Or have you talked to Dad yet? Have you reached out to Dad yet? And I'm like, no. She's like, why? He came to her boyfriend, her married boyfriend. No, he didn't. Your married boyfriend's a liar. I know there are rules. There is etiquette about going to recently passed loved ones. You don't just do it. I would have never done that without asking first. Besides, he was my dad too. It was a week after he died. So that was a whole thing. But anyway, I hated that thing. I was sitting in my chair back here, and it's over catty corner from me over here. And I'd look at it in its eyes and I'd be like, God, I hate you. You're ugly. And so one day I look up, and I kid you not, that ram head went up and slammed on the ground 15, 16 feet below it, just shattered everywhere. And I hear Dad say, I don't want to be remembered like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was a horrible dad unless I was hunting with my daughter, and I do not want that thing on the wall. I don't want to be remembered like that. And I was like, he was stuck in that afterlife that he thought he deserved, yet still he was in his own hell that he created. And so he came to me, you know. So I agree with you. I think that I couldn't go to him even if I wanted to at that point, because it was still too fresh to me and to her. And I would never have done that without asking her permission or how she felt about it first.
Because that's what you said, etiquette. You said the word etiquette, and that's it. And it's also, you know, most of the mediums that I've learned over, you know, just like 50 years. So, and and same. They'll tell the same type of things, and they'll say 3 months. And, you know, and most of the time they'll say, oh, well, you know, it's because they're busy. Well, yeah, they're doing stuff. It's not, you don't float around on a cloud and play a violin unless that's what you want to do after you're done doing whatever you're doing when you first get there. You know, you judge yourself, people. I'm telling you right now. And it's, if you think about it, it's much more powerful that way. And it makes more sense. Yeah. Why would all loving, unconditional love, pure light, and, you know, and all knowing, just no, you do it, and you get to see the effect, your ripples. Yeah, you get to see, oh, I didn't realize when I yelled at that cashier, I was having a bad day, but I yelled at her, and she went home, and she yelled at her husband, and he wound up leaving, and he wound up getting in a car and hit this person. Butterfly effects works both ways, people. And she's 100% correct about this, you know, what you said about the etiquette. Go ahead, Michelle.
Well, I
love the hand, by the way. I did the same thing. I'm like, I had a question. I love it. Go ahead.
I just wanted to reply to that because I so agree. And the thing is, you know, how I was taught, you know, in the Pentecostal holiness religion, it was fear. It was like literally my dad would do this, just pound his hand, and it's got to be this way. And, you know, oh, you're going to be, you know. And I grew up with so much fear. But when I had my NDE, now I didn't go, you know, a lot of people say that they see, you know, the light and they walk through the light or this tunnel. And I did not do that. Immediately I was up in the universe, but I felt enveloped in the love of God. And it was so much peace, so much love. There was no judgment. And I have to tell you, I was not the purest person on this planet when I went there. I was not, but I was enveloped in nothing but love. So I just wanted to comment on what you said because it's true.
It's so true. And we were talking, I had mentioned last night, I call it like the shuffling place. And the reason I do that is because when you call it purgatory, a lot of voodoo in that area called unseelie fae, the in between, you know, all these different, again, people labels. There's a spot where people either sit, like you said, in his own kind of making of his own hell there. Same with mine. I had to when my first husband passed, he died on a motorcycle accident. So it was like instant, he flew over, bam, head injury. So now you've got that on top of, you know, long story. But it was one of those where I had learned, bless her heart, my mother's been my best teacher, came through a medium and told me there's going to be some stuff, but you can't fix any of it. Anytime it happens, you sit down, take the hats off, all those tools you know how to use, sit on the box, lock it. They have to go through their journey, love them through it. So all of these big events started happening. I'm like, ugh, what more? What? So when these things happen, I just learned sit, trust my spirit guides. And I literally took my finger, went over my contacts on my phone because I knew this situation happened was my son had to go. It was his dad. He was a man now. They had unfinished business. And I had to stay out of it and just love them through it. So I'm sitting there and I go over my contacts and I go, yeah, but I got a guy. So, so I go over the contacts and I literally went by the tingle in the fingertip. And when I went over the name, I landed on it and I went, really? Okay. Called, answer the phone, don't have to say much. And then I said, well, and you're with the name. And they, well, yeah, I don't tell many people, but yeah, I do that. Because I'm like, go in and talk to this man because he was a 1%er. I mean, a 1%er. You know, he was, you know, here it's Pagans was at the time he was in, was like number 3 under Hell's Angels, whatever. So, and he was out of it when I met him, but there's a type. Let's just, let's just imagine type. So he was like, you know, I don't know. And no matter how many seeds I tried to plant, I was like, oh gosh, I hope one rooted, just to let you know that what you just said. Go over there, get it sorted. It's not, and I do the same thing with Soldiers Battlefield, stuff like that. But I couldn't do this one. And I sent in 3 remote viewers. It took 3. And then I had to send in 2 pretty girls first. Because the guy I sent in, he turned around and he said, who are you? And I went, yeah, that's him. So, it was one of those. But we worked like therapy. Everybody used their abilities and their thing, just like a well-oiled machine, and it was amazing. And when he finally connected into that love energy, the man I finally sent in went in after, and he said my name. Well, she sent me. And that was pure love. We loved each other. We just couldn't live with each other or we'd kill each other. And his whole face, his whole demeanor changed. And he said, look up, go get instruction. That's all you're getting right now. You're just getting instruction. Go get it. And when he looked up, he connected. He goes, wow, it's so bright. He said, go, and it's the love. It was love, but I couldn't do it. I just could provide the love. And knew who to call out to. And that's why you guys are so important. People in here with abilities that are reaching out and doing things. And I hope this encourages people with abilities to look into it, because once you, like you said, Michelle, and you too, Steph, when you start tapping into it, it's like it comes like she's paying attention. Here we go. Send it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And it's the time too, isn't it, Steph? It's the times we're in. Tell us a little bit about that, ladies. I've heard you talk about the awakening and the ascension and consciousness. Can you speak a little bit on that for the chat and talk about a little bit about what's happening now and why people are getting things are resonating more clear in a way? Is that a good way to put it? Michelle, what do you think?
Well, I know that there are several different, there's several different Bibles around the world that I have read the scripture. Now, please know I have not actually read those Bibles. Okay, I have read inserts from other professors that I have researched. Okay, but there's a common denominator, and it speaks of that. Of course, each religion believes in a different God, a different creator, but they're all the same creator. So what happens is in each of these, they all say that there will come a time when God will pour God's spirit out upon all humanity. Now, that's not the quote, okay? That's my interpretation of it. But during that time, which is now, that is when we will have the chance to either accept it or not. We can stay 3D, or we can go ahead and begin accepting that, hey, I'm communicating with other realms and they're beautiful. Okay, I'm going to accept it. I'm not going to fear. I'm going to listen to my guides, and I'm going to help humanity. And I'm going to help those who are just beginning to wake up, who may be afraid, because that happens for us a lot, right? We talk to people who come to us and, like, I'm experiencing this. I've never experienced this before. And I've had people reach out to me who, just like, I'm a retired nurse, right? I had to be competent to be a nurse. So when people reach out to us who are doctors, lawyers, nurses, doing some kind of profession where they have to be competent, they're afraid to speak out, and because they don't want, because of the ridicule. So, but for me, the awakening process, that's what this is. It's the Spirit, it's the Holy Spirit, it's the divine of the Creator, pouring the Spirit out, offering to all. It's kind of like you have what we knew as one earth that is now splitting apart. And that's that pull. You have 3D, you have 5D, and there's this pull.
Love it. Yep, exactly. Beautiful, beautiful. It is a call to arms.
Yeah. And I think the reason why it's resonating with more and more people, so the fifth dimension is a state of consciousness. It's a state of mind. It's not a different place. We're all still going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just a state of consciousness. So the more people like us talk about it and how great it is, the more people are going to be like, wow, well, maybe I want to go there, know? And then the more people we get on board. So I was listening to Avalon Spirit Coffee Talk yesterday, and they were talking about how a group has already gone and settled, if you will, for us. And now it's going to be easier for more and more of us to make that transition to the higher frequency, to the other realms, to the state of consciousness, because they're already like we just don't realize it. We could be there already. We already did it for everybody, for our ancestors did it for us. Well, we're doing it for, here on earth. And so I think it's kind of like, we've got to keep talking about it. We've got to be our authentic. Yes. We've got to keep talking about it. We've got to keep talking about how great it is, because we're going to bring more and more people with us. And the ones that don't want to, you know what? They're not gonna. They're
not gonna. And that's okay. Yeah, and that's okay. Because it's almost like, oh gosh, I just it's so clear in my mind, but my darn mouth. It's almost like the shuffling place, right? What we were talking about, the in-between, where so many I know have been stuck. Sylvia Brown, that was one of her big things. She used to go in and try to talk to people, but it's a timing thing. Are you ready yet? Are you ready to look up? Man, I just can't, every time I just drag myself down, look, guys, it's the same with ghosts. It's free will. We can tell them. We can try to tell them. I've had to go get people's mothers because I'm like, I'm done, and you said last night, Steph, like, I agree with you. We're not God. We can't make them. But if I can go get somebody that'll tell them, look, it's okay. Just come over here. It's like 150 years is enough, and that works too. But it's like these people are the living people that are walking in the shuffling place. That's almost like this 3D. Everything is they're so stuck on a hamster wheel, and they're stuck in that sludge of lies and manipulation and propaganda and bullshit and doom and gloom and fear, this loosh. They're just wrapped in the loosh, and they're feeding all this negativity, because that's what what do you think ghosts do that need energy? They scare you so they can go, hey, thanks for the breakfast. That it's that simple. And it's happening to the living, as well with this. And it's almost like they're in that shuffling place in 3D. And 3D looked real good when it was, when you were in a lower, and trying to get into that. But man, so many people broke free, and there is a separation, just like you guys said. Beautiful, done. Beautiful. And that's it. We got to keep talking about it. We got to keep sharing it out. And we got to keep telling people that if your thing is to go around and do secret little random acts of kindness, humbly, the same books you're talking about in scriptures and things like that, that's exactly what it says. Don't even let your right hand know what your left hand's doing, or vice versa. Don't even acknowledge it to yourself. You do it and it becomes like a habit. I'm going to open that door. How simple is it when you're walking into a place and you feel old or young? God, I'm 61 years old. I'm opening doors for 30 years old. It's not because somebody's older. It's a kindness not to let the door slam in somebody's and go on with your cell phone and your co-op and your $12.95 coffee and all this other stuff. It's all me, me, me. And you just slam the door in a vet's face that's on, can barely reach out and grab the door with arthritis,
Right.
that it's humanity. We got to get back to humanity.
Yes.
Who isn't noticing the fact that you used to have a whole town come around somebody who felt a little faint or couldn't get across the street.
Right.
And now somebody falls in a crosswalk or in a sidewalk. Everybody pulls out their camera, takes a video, and puts it on their social media.
Right.
There's a human being laying there. And when people start to realize that we are all connected, listen to Daniel Brinkley. I don't know if you know the name. 3 NDEs. Every single one of them was lightning. He was a Marine sniper, soldier, did some things, addict, this, that, and the other thing. All of these, he kept getting it, and then he'd slide backslider. Then it happened again, backslide. It lasted a little longer, but he said and these are his words, these are Daniel's words. He said, I went back to being the same asshole I was before, and then something else happened. And when he went through his life review again, and he says, I assure you, you will see every face. You will feel their pain. You will feel their happiness you caused. Now he hugs everybody. And somebody at a party will say, boy, you're a real hugger, aren't you? You just go around hugging everybody. He goes, oh, you silly jerk. I'm not hugging you. I'm hugging me. Because when I get over there and go through this again, I need all this back. Yeah. Think of it that way. Maybe if we start thinking, hey, we're not just doing it for them. We're doing it for us. Because I need that back later. When I see how bad I talk to my parents or talk to my aunt or talk to that kid or joined in bullying that kid because at least it wasn't me. Or whatever. We always justify stuff, and I think that's amazing. That really explained it very well of what a lot of people are feeling here. Chat, do you have any questions about that? I think that's such an important subject. And so many of us had questions about like, what's going on right now? Why am I feeling so awake? Why am I getting downloads in my sleep? Do you guys know anything about that where you're getting these? Please speak on that while we get the questions about the ascension. If you have any questions about this ascension or anything like that, or fifth dimension, please get them out now, because I think it's very important we touch on that. Go ahead, sweetie.
Stephanie, I would love for you, if you feel comfortable, I would love for you to tell your story about what happened with the downloads, because we are connected. It is so amazing.
You mean when I was talking about all the dots and stuff?
Yes.
I mean, it's not a huge story, but since I start, okay, I will say, let me back up a little bit by saying, there was a show, and I can't remember the show because I haven't watched TV in 6 years, but there was a show that this guy, I think it was a guy, and he would be able to see things just go like this, numbers and words and visions and whatever. That's what a download is. It can be like. And so I can see these things, but the interesting thing to me is my guides come to me, but I've never, to my knowledge, had anybody else's guide come to me until Michelle's. And now Michelle's guides come to me all the time. And so I was having this lucid dream, and I was looking for my dog. And my dog, it wasn't this dog, it was my dog before, and he was off leash, and I couldn't find him. And I was in this area with my dad. I'm with my dad a lot, that I don't know anybody. And I go in, we were like at an open air market. And then we go inside, and there was these two little black boys. And I looked out, and Michelle is laying on the sidewalk with like this white, kind of like a sheet or something, blanket over her. And I couldn't tell if she was okay. And I'm like, but I was told not the little boys, but I was told not to go to her. And so then the little boys finally came up to me, because I was like, I gotta go help her. Like, she's my best friend. So the little boys came out to me, and they just like stood back here, and they said, don't look at us. And I was like, all right. And they go, you're worried about the lady out on the sidewalk, right? And I said, yeah. And they go, it's okay. She has a plan. But I was like, okay. They go, you're not supposed to go out there. She has a plan. Don't worry. She's got a plan. So I was like, all right. So I go on looking for my dog. I go back outside. I finally find my dog. And here comes Michelle behind me. She goes, it's okay. I got a plan. Like, okay. And I don't even remember we don't know what exactly the plan is. You might know, but I don't know yet.
I do. So Stephanie contacted me and said, so I had a dream. Well, the thing that Stephanie did not know, because no one knew other than my husband. Okay. I tell him every time something happens, in case, I don't remember something, because sometimes it's, like awakened during the middle of the night. Sometimes I might not remember it. So I tell him everything. Well, but that's it. So what Stephanie did not know is I've had several past life memories of being covered by this white shroud-like robe.
Oh, wow.
Being protected. One of those is like back, because I do remember walking with Jesus. I do remember that. And he was an ascended master. So I do remember. And I was also wearing a white robe. Now, the interesting thing is most of my spirit guides are dark skinned. She had no idea about that. Most of my guides that come to me are dark skinned.
How about that? They were your spirit guides. Yes. Hey guys, listen, if you don't know this, anything, I get, that's weird. It seems to be almost a theme of the conversation with the kitten that, that helped the cat, that grew into an adult cat that helped the man that was lonely, but wound up being my spirit guide, spirit children, all of this, they can appear in any which way. I've got one that's a wizard. Keeps tossing these light balls around and stuff. Like, I think that's one of the ones that's been with me all my life. It's just one of those. But you can also have multiple spirit guides, and they change very much like Native American names with your character and the things you're going through. They change. You'll get specialists that pop in. Yeah. You want to talk a little bit about that, about different spirit guides? Because I think sometimes we get these ideas, and also the labels. So I would say anything could be a guide. You can call them angels, you can call them elders, you can call them past loved ones that are past, or past life. Don't forget those.
This can be a spirit guide.
There you go.
Yes.
Believe it or not. Believe it or not. And and they come in, do they not, at special times?
Yes.
Talk about that a little. That's so cool.
So, well, what I have noticed is that now we do have a guardian angel. Now this is just my belief, and I never try to push my beliefs on anyone. Okay. It's just because of things I've experienced. This is why I formed the belief that I have, because I do have communications with extraterrestrials and interdimensional beings. So, and some of those are what I call the bird people. Someone told me that they're called avians. But I just call them the bird people. Some of them have wings, but they look part human as well. So to me, I feel like that could be what people, thousands of years ago thought were called angels, and still today call angels, a higher advanced being. Yes, they're still celestial. They're very, very, very high on the totem pole, if that's how you want to see it. But it's like, it's incredible how, like when we come, but well, even before we come here in a lifetime, we go through it's like a soul contract, and I do remember having a soul contract, and part of that was planning an elevator fall. From age 5 to 8, I had recurring dreams of being in an elevator fall, but I was a child, and I would laugh. I would tell my mom it was funny. That actually happened to me when I was going on 32 years old. So, but that was a soul contract that I remember pre-birth. Now, knowing this makes it even more interesting, because it's like there's always this one person that I remember it's that was standing beside me. I remember the voice. I don't remember exactly in spirit turning my head to look at that person. But I remember there was a feminine energy standing beside me as I was voicing my soul contract in agreement. Her voice has been with me all my life. So there is at least one, whether you want to call it an angel, an advanced being, there is someone, there's something beautiful with us, at least one, our whole entire lives. Now, that's just one. So each time we start a new category or a new cycle of life, there's something new that we're supposed to step into to learn. We will have different guides, sometimes one, sometimes multiple, who kind of specialize in that area. And they will come in and they'll, it's kind of like the one that comes in with us, that's with us all our lives. It's kind of like the overseer of the guides that come in. Okay. And the angel or the advanced being that comes with us, it's like their main focus is to make sure that we complete our soul purpose, and to make sure that should there, let's say it's not our time to pass and we are in an accident, that they will do something to either bring us back or prevent the accident from happening, things like that. Making sure that everything is in divine timing. But the spirit guides, now their role's different. So it's like when the spirit guides come in, as I said, it's like they will come in for a cycle. And then when that cycle's done, they will leave and new spirit guides will come in. And sometimes those may be animals. It could be insects. It could be, because everything's energy. Everything is energy. Yep. So when you look at it in an energetic viewpoint, a spirit guide or a spirit animal, a spirit insect, a spirit rock, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's all consciousness. So, but there will be an entity, at least one, that will come in to help guide us in that direction of our life until we finish that cycle, and it just keeps repeating. So we do have those that come in and out.
Yeah. Incredible. And again, does it not resonate as true? Think about this. Why wouldn't it? Why would everything? Real quick, Steph, and I'll shut up, then you come in. But something's telling me to say this. So I work in a place where everybody's very agitated. The anxiety is off the chain, people in the world right now. The anxiety, and I believe it's almost a reaction to all this energy, and they don't know how to process it, and it's causing anxiety, along with chemicals and stuff in the chemtrails and stuff in the water and the food and the whatever they're feeding people and getting them to take, because there really is a difference. And I could prove this. I mean, go talk to the Amish people and ask them how much they got going on over there, because they don't take in a lot, all this stuff. So look at different things, look at different tribes in different countries that just have nothing to do with any of the outside stuff, and see how their things are affected. See how much autism, see how much this, or see how many different diseases and these kind of things. See what their bones look like, So all of that's true. But I think they're having this effect. So I work in this kind of thing, and I went, and the only thing I could think of to do for this shop, because I tried to talk to people, but I'm like, okay, I know what I'm dealing with there. We have somebody who's I just want to complain about it. I don't want to do anything to fix it. We just want to talk about it till it's about dead. And then we want to talk about it again. And then it's just all this. So I have earplugs in, and I'm listening to my podcast, doing research, and just floating above this whole thing. I'm just here to work, go home. I don't want to be involved in any of this. So I thought the best thing to do is get him a bird feeder. So I went and got him a bird feeder, and I made him a real pretty glass plate feeder, just pretty colors. I'm so backdoor sneaky with this stuff, because I know what's going to change the vibration. I can't change the music, and I can't change the talk. But when you walk outside to go get supplies, you have to walk past this, and everybody stops. Everybody watches the chipmunks eat with the squirrels and the blue jays eat with the cardinals and the, all this other stuff. And I always pointed out when we're out there gathering stuff or whatever, and it happens all day long. And I said, listen to that. Do you see? I said, I want you guys to listen, understand nature. I try to go Native American on them because nature's right there. It's easy to use for a lesson. And I said, pay attention to what's going on in your surroundings. Everybody be quiet for a minute. Now look up. What do you see? And it was 6 turkey buzzards, so they're circling, they're doing their thing and they're looking. And, somebody said, well, something's dying. I said, no, they're looking for something that is. If it was something that was dying, they would just hover over one spot and keep going until it was ready. And then bam, or roadkill or whatever. It's just the way it is, And I said, but listen, what do you hear? He said, not much. I said, you hear one bird. It's a chickadee. The chickadee has 27 different calls. The tiniest bird, other than the hummingbird, okay, one of the most tiniest ones in the North America has 27 different calls. And that chickadee is calling out a warning to the squirrel. Doesn't care what squirrel looks like or that it's a different species. To the blue jays, which are the biggest corvids out there other than the crows, right? To the chipmunk reacts. Then the chipmunk goes off. And the chipmunk will go off of what the chickadee and the titmice are saying and start calling out, where's the prey? Where's the predator? I mean, up, level, down, side, this accurate. And then you see all the little birds come in and everybody got under all the bushes and was hiding out. Everybody just got down and quiet, even the squirrels, and waited for that to go. And I said, that's what you should be paying attention to. And I went inside and they're all just standing there going, right. And you're struggling in life. And the tiniest little soul out here had control of everything. Mm-hmm. What are you doing? There you go.
I love it.
Yep. Love it. I will also say that, so I'm going to cover a little bit different because I agree with Michelle on everything with guides. I will also say that, remind everybody, your guides and angels I guess I never thought about it in the way that you did, Michelle, where if it's not your time to go, they might step in and change things. But normally you have to ask for help for your angels to come and help you.
Yes.
So when I was dying from cancer, I had real, what looked like humans, angels that 3 of them that I dealt with on a daily basis and didn't know until after the fact that they were not human. Like, they were human angels on earth that then when I didn't need them anymore, I asked for their help. And when I didn't need them anymore, then they were gone. They still check on me. But they're not here on earth in that way. They might be a different human form for somebody else. So what was that show where that woman was an angel, touched by an angel? Yeah. It's real.
Yeah, it is. It's so real. I got a ride from one. I'll share this with you. I'll try to do the quickest version I can. So I'll just be dead honest. I was married to someone who was having a huge problem with addiction. And we went through all the stuff, we went through the rehabs. We did I just don't need to have the check to get the check home to feed the kids and pay the rent. And I'm like, so I quit my job and I went and worked construction with him. I'm like, okay, some bitch, here we go. We're doing all of it. You want to live? Let's do this. So I would go, we did everything. I don't know how many times his mom took him to get him baptized, but the last time I think we took him, I asked the pastor, so you hold him down a little longer this time. I mean, you just get to that point, So we were about there and he was doing pretty good. And I was supposed to go pick him up. And it was one of those crucial nights. And I was so caught up. I had the kids. I took them downstairs to the lady who watched them and went to go pick them up. And I remembered everything but gas. And I had no money, no nothing. And, and now I'm in the worst part of the town. It's late. This is where they don't even bother fixing the streetlights. This, my car over. And I'm like, that's it. And I'm tough. I'm an old soldier. And I'm like, screw it. I got to get there. Let's start walking. Flashers on, start walking. And I'm walking. And I remember looking at my feet and I'm doing kind of the shuffle thing. I'm looking down, I'm looking at my feet and I'm praying and I'm saying this. I'm like, Archangel Michael, I need you, man. I need Jesus to send some. I said, you know what's going to happen. I said, I feel like if this is what you need to happen and this is going to happen, this is it. This is it. This is the end. You know, I'm doing what I'm going to do. I'm taking the kids. I'm going. This is it. So you pick. But if you need me to get there, I need help now. Took 3 steps and a car. And I can't see the license plate. I can't see the make. It's a silver, like it could have been a Camaro, it could have been Hyundai. I don't know. And I know cars, if they're motor car, everything now looks the same. But I could at least give you a make. It's blurry. And I'm like, what? This is weird. And I'm walking in faith. And I'm walking next to it. And I got my hands, I'm literally walking with my hands out like this. I'm reading energy. I'm going, what's going on here? I'm like this. I'm trying to feel it. I'm like, tell me, give me something. This is crazy. My entire knowledgeable adult soldier body is telling me you are doing the craziest thing you have ever done in your entire life. Don't do this. My heart was saying walk. So I walked up and it had to roll down. He rolls down, he leans in and he looks like military, right outside of military base where I retired out of. And I'm looking at him and I'm looking at his eyes were the iciest, coolest, warm blue I've ever seen in my life. And I'm going, this is nuts. I don't trust this guy. I don't feel anything, and I'm reaching for the handle. What are you doing? So this whole thing was like this with me. I'm in the car and I'm like, I could take this guy. If he pulls something, I'm telling these things, it's like, I could do this. Okay, I got to get there. I'm half out the window. And he looks at me and the whole time he's looking at me. There's nothing. It's bucket seats. There's nothing between the seats, but the shifter. There's nothing like a cup holder, nothing. And because I look in the back seat. I'm one of those. I want to know what's going on. And so I'm sitting there and he's just, okay, where do you need to go? I told him, he says, that was my mom, my sister, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't want her to walk out here, we're just saying little things. And I'm just like, okay. And I'm watching hands. And he's feeling it. He's getting it. And he kind of keeps looking forward. And it's not very far, 1.5 miles, 2 miles. And we had to pull off the highway and go under this overpasses above us to pull down this industrial way where my ex would have been waiting at the construction site. And this whole time he's saying little things like, oh, I thought you would have saw the municipal plates. I said, dude, I didn't see any plates, And he goes, municipal. I said, you off-duty cop? And he says, yeah. He goes, look. He goes like this with his head. There's his wallet with the badge and the gun tucked in the seat. No, that wasn't there before. I know it wasn't there before. Now what are we doing now? I never got in there if there was a gun. Do you see, is this meant now to make me feel more comfortable? Because, and I'm like, whoa. No. And he just kind of smiled, this knowing kind of, it's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. And I said, yeah, I know you're not, man. I said, I just need to I got kids, I'm not going to play. And he just smiled. He goes, I get it. He's like, you're all right. And I'm like, okay. We're literally like this. The light turns red. We have to wait for the light under the overpass. And he stops for a second. He looks at me and he goes, you cannot help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. You cannot keep jumping in if they don't want you to save them from drowning. Mm-hmm. Can you remember that? And I said, yeah, I think I can. And he looked at me and the eyes just kind of sparkled. And I went, son of a bitch. In my head, not out loud. And I felt this warm. And I went, you could almost hear it. And I'm like, no. Light turns, we go, and I can see where I need to be. Now I went out of the car. I'm about getting ready to jump. There's a gravel, and everybody knows if they've ever heard tires on gravel. It turns in, and I can see the hut they're in, and I can see them sitting at the table. I made it. And he pulls in, and I got the door open. He's not even stopped yet. I got my foot dragging. I'm jumping. because he's freaking me out. And I get out and I slam the door, not slam, but shut the door. And I went, hey, man, thanks a lot. I'm good now and I appreciate it. And he just turns like this. He looks at me and he catches eyes and he says, please remember what I said. And I said, I will, man. I will. I appreciate it. And that just get, I want to get away. Now I'm headed toward the door. I go up and it's a little construction shack with the wood steps that go up with a little porch. And I go running up there and I grab the screen door just as they're opening it. The boss is opening the door. It's like, oh man, kind of late. We're worrying about you. And I said, yeah, my car broke down. I got this ride. And I turn around, no car, no tires on gravel. What car? We didn't see you pull up. You just walked up here. There's no way the car could have gone this way with lights on or off. I would have seen it. It's all industrial darkness. And this way to the highway where you would have went back, you could see, and the light was red. He couldn't have got through. Never heard tires on gravel. And I just put my hands on that fence and I looked up at the stars and I went, thanks, guys. That happened.
Yeah.
That happened. And that's when I let go. It's like the next move is yours.
Yeah.
The next move is yours. And there's a lot of people out there that need to do that. And I think a lot of people are doing that with families or do it with friends. And it's not, we talked a little bit about this last night about the guilty. Don't feel guilty about, and you said it today, Steph, when you were reading the Capricorn. And again, on Michelle's channel, she does readings. You do that once a week, once a month? You go through everything?
Weekly zodiacs.
Yes, and please go look on her channel because she's got meditation. She's got videos for animals and dog separation. If they are upset, you're going to the office, right? Go ahead.
Now on the meditation, it's only the music. Now on Stephanie's channel, Stephanie does like the guided meditation.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. So and you have that, and then you guys get together.
Yes.
And you're on each other's channels, and then
Yes.
you do your. It's an amazing thing. I can't imagine you needing something that these ladies don't have on their channels. If you're looking for guidance, go ahead.
What Stephanie and I do is kind of like what you don't find on one channel, it'll be on the other. We don't do like the same thing on purpose.
Right.
So like I do zodiac readings, but Stephanie does moon and the different astrology readings per zodiac. You see?
And, right.
So it really complements both of us because the way that we connect, I mean, like we have a strong connection. It's amazing. But it's like the way that we connect and the respect that we have for each other. So it's like, let's say that there's one thing, because there are some things that both of us can do. However, it's like, okay, Stephanie, you're better at this than I am. I don't have that much knowledge about that right now. That's not more of my path. That's yours. So Stephanie takes that on her channel because she's the one that has the knowledge about it, and vice versa. So that way we don't have anything that's like, like both of us doing the same exact thing on both of our channels.
Right. And so for my channel, every Sunday morning, I release a paranormal investigation episode, and I try to keep them 30 minutes-ish. And so every Sunday morning, this morning included, is a paranormal investigation episode.
Very cool.
On top of that, I don't commit to it, but I try for every new moon and full moon to do a live. And I will create a guided meditation just for that specific moon. Cool. And then I talk about the moon, this specific moon. This is what you need to know. This is what you do for it. This is what, et cetera, et cetera. This is what you should release. This is what you should manifest with it. And then I'll do that meditation. And then since I have real internet, I'm going to, this last time I did it, but then go in and just take the meditation and put it as a separate video so that people could go back and do that meditation again. And then I do zodiac readings specific to the moon for the signs. But Michelle took 3 channels and made it into one recently. So we're trying to get everybody from the other 2 channels to come over because I was like,
Yeah.
Michelle, why are you doing that to yourself? You need to.
You know, it's funny. These are the times where we're doing really erratic things. It seems like it's crazy, but it feels so right to do it. And it feels so freeing to do it. You know, I
Yeah.
was talking to Katie Turner about, we were talking about, actually it was off air. She said, you know, Cisco, what do you think about this Mandela effect stuff? She goes, I think there's a lot going on here. And I
Yeah.
said, dude, I saw Shazam. I watched it with my kids. We made fun of the pants. You know, I had boys and they were like, you know, he was a funny comedian. Even he comes out and said, I never made the movie. I never did it. So, you know, there's this jump, timeline jumps.
Oh, I
And
got to tell you about that.
please do. Please bring it. Bring it.
Okay,
So important. So important.
Yes, it is real.
Yes.
So this was a while ago that it really was obvious to me. I have lymph drainage issues. So I have to see a therapist to have lymph drainage done on my left side where I had radiation and my breast removed. And so she's a survivor. I've known her since 2012. And so I drive into Cincinnati to see her and I'm running late. And I don't really worry about that anymore. But I mean, she's got clients, so I got to be there. So I text her when I'm coming around the corner and I'm like, hey, I'm running late. I'm going to run into the bathroom because the bathroom's outside her office. And normally I can see when she reads it. She's one of those that has that you can tell when she reads it. And so I go in and I kind of look over and the door to her, she's got 2 other practitioners in there with her. And the door is like this skinny where you can't see it, but you could see the light if there's a light on. And I've never met the other people that work with her. They're either in a session or they're not there when I'm there ever. So I look and I'm like, it's all dark. That's weird. So I go in, I go to the bathroom, I come back out. She hasn't answered. The door's locked. I'm like, weird. The door's never been locked. Like, what the hell? So I went out and I sat on the porch. Now there's other offices in this building. So I'm sitting on the porch and I'm 45 minutes to an hour away. What am I supposed to do? And I need this therapy. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, what the heck? So I check my phone. She hasn't answered. I try to call her. She doesn't answer. I text her again. She doesn't answer. A lady walks up and I'm at the only way to get into this building. A lady walks up and she says, are you okay? And I said, no. I kind of tell her. She goes, oh, I haven't really seen anybody today. So she goes on in. And so I reach out to Cheryl's kids that do not know me on Facebook. And I'm like, look, I'm worried about your mom. She's never been late for one of my sessions before. I don't know what's going on. She's not answering. Finally, her daughter got back to me and she's like, let me try to call her. I talked to her this morning. Well, she's now has breast cancer again. So I was a little bit worried about that. She said, I talked to her this morning. I said, okay. So I'm sitting there waiting for her to get back to me. And all of a sudden, you know, when an indoor door opens and the outdoor sucks in, you can hear it suck in. I hear that noise and I turn around and somebody was coming out of her her door. And they walk down the stairs and I'm like, so I go in and I open the door and it's unlocked. And the lady says, yeah, she's in with a client. And I'm like, what is happening? I've been here for 45. What is happening right now? I said, the door was just locked and I have an appointment. And the lady's like, the door wasn't locked. And I'm like, what the hell? So I sit down and she goes, well, I said, I'm sitting right here until she comes out because I've got to talk to her. I'm 45 minutes from here. So she comes out. She goes, your appointment's tomorrow. I said, what day is today? And she told me, and I said, I go look on my calendar. My appointment is today. She goes, no, I made a mistake. It's tomorrow. And I was like, oh, frick. So, okay, well, I got to come back tomorrow. So I leave there and I'm like, what is going on? So I'm turning out of there and I want to turn left and it's like a side street to go to a main street. I've been hit so many times that I'm a very defensive driver. I look, I pull out and all of a sudden there's a car about to hit me. There was no car there. And I'm like, Oh my God. So I get on the highway. I just need to get back to my hometown. Get on the highway. I am in the fast lane. No, I'm in the slow lane. I want to get into the fast lane. My car is when you turn the thing on, it will tell you if somebody's there. So I turn my turn signal. I look. There's nobody miles from me. I turn the blinker on. I get over, and all of a sudden there's a car right behind me about to run over me. So I get to Harrison and I go into Kroger, and the same thing. I go in, I get my whatever I'm doing, and I come out, and somebody out of the blue, there's no cars there, and all of a sudden somebody's hitting me. I went home and was like, I don't know what just happened.
It's happening, and it's happening to other people, and they think they're crazy. It happened to me the other day. I'm the same defensive driver. I was a driver in the Army. That was my MOS. So I had to go through a lot. I believe it or not, it was one of the few that could actually drive VIPs on our base. You know, it was something that they were trying. It was amazing because usually you have a captain drive the higher ups drive the higher ups. I got to drive them, and that it's not as good as it sounds. Trust me, because some of these guys are something else. But anyhow, so I learned to do all this defensive stuff, and I'm real big. I mean, I've got an old car. I treat it well. It's paid for. Love it. You know, it's like I'm a big paid for person, you know, but I've had it a long time because I'm like that, you know, because there's a lot of crazy people. I'm one of these people who I'm on the highway and I'm going, I don't even trust to stand next to these people in the grocery line. And they've got a 2-ton vehicle pointed at me, and I'm trusting them not to come this far over a line doing 80 coming to. This is the kind of stuff I think. So I'm over here. I'm watching all the time. Trained to watch. 10 and 2, and I come out and I look left, right, left, right, left, right, go, right. Nobody's there. All of a sudden, there's 2 kids on a bicycle in front of me. There was nobody coming down that road. There was no place they could have come out of. Same type of stuff, and it's happening. Yeah. It's happening.
Tell about Chris, Michelle.
Oh my gosh. So my husband, when we used to live in another town in Kentucky, my husband, he had left for work one morning. Now, there is a certain point when he leaves our home, it takes exactly 8 minutes to get to that point. And he had left the house and he had been gone 3 minutes. 3. And even if he was driving like 120 miles an hour, okay, but there was no way because they had specifically made like turnabout. I think that's what they call them, to keep people going very slow on this road. Okay, so there's no possible way my husband could have been speeding. So anyways, he calls me 3 minutes after he left the house and he said, I think something just happened that I can't explain. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, and he told me where he was at. And he said, look at the clock. And it had been 3 minutes. There was no way. Absolutely no way.
Yeah.
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 It's happening to a lot of people, and I think that's adding to what we spoke on earlier about this anxiety. Now, again, I'm not just a paranormal. I made up the whole paranormalist because nobody knows what the hell it means. I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you? I'm a paranormalist. What does that mean? I'm just, interested in the paranormal and dabble in it, the supernatural, metaphysical, all the good stuff, nature, and it's all connected. And we're here on this channel. We're up here into this. We don't talk about it. Does Bigfoot exist? It's like, what is Bigfoot and how many different kinds are there? And how did they change over, and evolve over time? And what frequency are they vibrating? Why are they always, blurry? Well, Bigfoot's blurry. And then there's these other ones that can come in and out of the dimensions and through portals and stuff that are more protectors, that are more in touch with their DNA, they're a little bit more primal and more protectors, where the other ones kind of come and go or maybe stayed. It's just like everything else out here in nature that's evolved and changed. You have people, you have human beings that decide they want to live on an island and not have any contact with anybody. Great. there's lots of that going on still. It's a big world. And then you've got little villages that seem to be untouched by World War I, World War II, Civil War, all the different things, because they were a tight community in a valley and in a little rural area. You know what I mean? They just function just like the bird feeder and the animals in the woods. Just everything is copacetic, but all these other people are losing their minds over here in this devastation and this turmoil. Now, all the turmoil, we allowed it to get so much so. This growth of almost like the world's got a poltergeist.
Yeah.
We touched on it. Isn't that strange though? But like I was telling you last night, I was talking to Bill Bean like 25 years ago. I said there's this black, dark, evil, nasty fog crawling over this world. I can see it. I can feel it. We had long discussions about CERN. He says, Cisco, every time they turn on CERN, we jump another timeline. This is what's happening. And we got deep in the discussions over the different parts of the world, one famous one being Skinwalker Ranch. There's a lot more going on there, folks, than you think. And that's one of the places that they've opened up all these things and let these things in and out. You're hearing a lot about dogmen. And I tried so hard. We had a episode, I had Ron Murphy on here, and we're talking about, look, it's separate. Yes, werewolves. Yes, but it's different than dogmen. And the dogman is a little different from the Rougarou. And then you've got the ones that were messed with because human beings can't keep their hands off of nature and think that they can improve everything. And then you've got these, what I believe, and this is only my opinion, of probably something along the lines of a super soldier type deal. This just chaos things. And they're usually out and around protecting things they don't want you to get into. You're hearing a lot about the rakes and things like this now. Now, what they did was they allowed us to get technology. So everybody's got these trail cams and stuff now. And you got a bunch of people in their basement eating Cheetos and drinking Monster drinks and pulling all these trail cams off. There's some crazy stuff out there.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it's coming out of the tunnels. It's coming out of these experiments. And any two people that have worked as much on missing people and missing kids and people missing in national forests. I was talking to, I don't know if you know some of the names like Coronado and some of the older ones, even Peter Jennings did a lot on, and Sylvia, so many, Echo Bodine, we could go all day of working on looking for missing people. And we'd always get the part of the conversation of, yeah, I know where they are, but I can't talk about that. It's too big.
Yeah.
And that's part of what's feeding the louche and the evil. And one of the biggest things is people do not, again, like I said in the beginning, they have no problem believing that, these things exist and this stuff happens. And then that when you start getting to that evil, people would do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That's how they've got away with it for so long.
Yes.
And I believe that I know we're talking around all that, but look, I talk JFK. I say whatever you want. I'm a conspiracy person, not a theorist. Yeah, there are theories, but there's a lot of facts there too, going way back, because I was the youngest of 9 and born to an older couple who had a lot of adults around, and all my teenage sisters and brothers are gone. And I sat around and listened to the adults talk about JFK and Nixon and, where's Jimmy Hoffa? And I was in New Jersey around a lot of people that might have known, you know what I'm saying? So I listened. So when I started getting up to this stuff was easy to sort for me. You just back up 40,000 foot view and everything's connected. And then you got the hands of those who will take anything good, whether it's an invention to say help humanity, whether it's an herbal cure, that they'll shut that person up. Listen, before COVID, I can tell you for about 2 weeks, I think I can name probably 28 herbal doctors and holistic doctors that were. That's a plan. Do you see what I mean? We don't want that information out there. We don't want people. And if you're still in here, she's just like me. You would consider us probably, if I was in Tennessee, I'd probably be called a granny witch, because we just go Native American, Chinese, herbal of the earth, especially if you're trying to get something natural,
Yeah.
So, when you start dealing with things that are Man-made, you have to get a little bit more, but your body is natural.
Yeah.
Even when you're fighting something that's not natural, go natural if you can, you know.
Right.
And again, I'm big on look, they put my son back together. He was Humpty Dumpty. You know, medicine can be wonderful. They are absolute miracle workers, but you've got all this in between. And
Yes.
you guys, you've been involved in it, you know, in working in it, and you've been on the other side of it too. And so have I, you know, and I got my eyes open. But
Yeah.
when my kid was in that hospital, white coats didn't affect me at all. You're fired, out. Get me another one. You want to do what? Nope. Next. 19 neurologists, and I just sat there, and they said, don't mess with her. I don't know what she's going to do, but she's going to do something. Just give her what she wants, because that one's not shutting up, going away. That's my son. You know, I'm not just going to let you, wait a minute, what do you got in your hand? What is this? You know, and you know, I've literally went behind nurses that put bandages on, and I said, go get me some paper tape. You got latex tape on him. It's on his thing. No, I'll do it, because what I have in my purse works hell of a lot better than whatever the hell's in that tube.
Yeah.
I literally did that. I wouldn't mess with anything that was life-threatening, but, you know, everything else, I'm like, are you done with this face? Because I'm going to go at it now. And it's like, it's just, and you should see how beautiful he is, you know. But
Yeah.
you've got to be that way with your life. You've got to be that way with your life, your abilities, and this blind following, you know, this authoritative, you know what I mean? What, there used to be a time, I'm telling you, you know, I'm sure I'm older than you guys, but there was a time, if somebody knocked on the door and said, we're with the FBI, we need to use your phone, we need to confiscate your car to help this crime or something like that, you would feel honored in doing your duty to help, you know. And so we're ready. We're ready for an ascension. We're ready to knock out this evil, and the light will win this battle.
Yes, it
It's
will.
like it's already done. We just have to earn, you know, how many different stripes are we going to earn along the way? It's not going to be easy.
Right.
You know, it's not easy now, but we're in the thick of it. And we got this far. You get out the other end. Don't give up.
Right.
Don't give up. You know, and power that. Now it's time to double down on the light. You know, you get involved with people, like you get actively involved with these channels. Folks, I want everybody, if you can, please go over and subscribe to these channels. I put the links in there. They're all in here. They're in the description. You go in there and subscribe and hit the notification. And I'll tell you why. It's not just to support talent and light workers and kind, loving people. What you're doing is allowing your spirit guides to have another channel to give you messages, to give you hope, to give you help when you need it, and very specific. Do not expect, this is not your 5 and dime store. You know, I'm telling you right now, your spirit guides are not like that. You do not give them enough credit. When you say with your intent, your free will, ladies, correct me if I'm wrong, please. When you say with your free will, I need help and I need you to show me so I can't talk myself out of it. You know me. I will talk myself out of it. I'll bob and weave. I need something in my face. I need to see it. And if I don't get that one, give me another one. And keep doing it until I get it. I give you permission to do this. Come in my dreams, do this, do that, whatever you need to do. And be specific with them. And listen to me. You have to understand that kind of faith. You might not get the job you think you need. You might get a pop to go this way because that's the job they know you need. You
Right.
know, you got to let go and have a little faith, right, ladies? Go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And as soon as I start to feel, as soon as the 3D starts to suck me back in and I start to stress about something, I just tell myself, why? That it can't hurt you. It can't hurt you. You have to just let it go and walk away from it and go outside or go do something else, go inspire somebody, whatever. Every time I start to stress about how am I going to pay this bill or how am I going to do this, I just no, because what are they going to do to me? Seriously, what are they going to do to me? So it's just, it's a state of consciousness. It's a state of mind. We all, for our own good and for the good of all of the realms, have to stick to the positive and have to walk away from the negative, and we have to stick to it. And we can't allow ourselves to be drugged back in the bullshit, because that's what the controllers want. We cannot
Amen.
be controlled. We cannot allow ourselves to be controlled by fear.
Amen.
No.
Amen. That's it. That's it. That fear right there. That's it. So 365 times. Now, say what you want about the Bible. I understand. We've talked about it many times on this channel. You know, I mean the words in red. You know, when you go to the core, start there and listen to the love, the kindness, the think about it. You know, so many things have warped it. Listen, I had a sister who walked away from her family because she thought they didn't approve of her lifestyle, this whole thing, just all this BS. So 30 years, you know, you don't get to share in the love of your family, or at least some, and you stay away and you live your life, you know, isolated because you believe all this stuff. Listen, I spent 8 hours leaning over her, what we call it singing over, you know. I think it was like one of those things where it was almost like I had to help her, and it helped me learn to help others later on down the line. Just one of, again, experience to go through. But the whole thing with her, I could feel she was in a coma, breast cancer, got pain meds, so many different complications from just everything. And she was at that point. I was so sick. It was the height of me being bit by spiders. I'm laying in the back seat. I'm like biting on. I'm a dumbass. I wouldn't take pharmaceuticals for painkiller. I just kind of dealt with it, which is saying something for brown recluse bites. Let me tell you, hyperintensifies the nerves just for the fun of it. So I would bite through wooden spoons because I'm trying not to break my teeth, because the teeth are expensive. Spoons at the dollar store. I'm trying not to lose it, because you have to control your breathing and your heart rate and everything else, just like you're a monk or something. Because if it hits your heart too much, that's it. It just, your blood starts rushing. You know what I mean? And too much venom, too much stuff. It affects your organs different ways. Then I get to the hospital. I see her. She's in a coma. They're saying, well, she can't hear you. I'm like, get out of the room. So I'm sitting there. I got my eagle feather and stuff like that. And I think I did burn sage. And I sang her over, because I'm like, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. She left with no faith base, thinking everybody hated her and there was nothing on the other side. I'm not having you shuffling through. I'm not doing it. We're doing it now. Mom's over there. You guys have got, we're finishing this. Turn around. I had to get her to turn around and look at her. Once my mom had her and those eyes and the hands came out, and I woke up. I had somebody got me coffee, because I wasn't asleep. I came out of it, and I went to drink the coffee. And to me, I thought I had that coffee 10, 15 minutes. I was going to drink. It was ice cold. Somebody told me I had been in there for just like 8 hours. I was in there for so many hours. People were coming and going. I didn't even see them. I'm just sang her over. But if you can get it then, when they're right there on that. And the same similar thing happened with my son and his dad, when I was told to sit on my kitchen floor and do nothing, because now it was his turn. And I think I believe it almost has something to do with cycles of a bloodline, cycles of this soul family, of breaking that cycle, breaking the cycle of abuse, breaking the cycle of lies, breaking the cycle of whatever type of bad thing is going on. What do you guys have to say on that? Like the cord cutting, the bloodline memories, DNA memories, and those circles we keep repeating, because I almost felt when I broke the cycle with one of the exes, with so many circles, I felt them break, because I could hear them cheering.
Right.
Take it away,
Michelle.
Okay. So
this is so much fun. Just go ahead.
It is, isn't it? It's freeing, So yes, as far as karmic, okay, it is a real thing. So basically, I'll explain it like this. I had a fear of fire that was just tremendous. I've never in this lifetime been in a fire. I have not been close to anyone that has been in a fire, but it was as if I was just tormented. Like every time my husband and I would start to leave out the door, I would unplug the coffee pot. I would go check 3 or 4 times to make sure that the stove was turned off, and just anything that could catch fire, that it was off or unplugged. And it about drove my husband nuts, and he's like, "Why do you do this?" So finally one day, I asked Spirit. I said, "Okay, please show me, help me understand, why do I do this?" Because I'm thinking I have OCD, because that's what I was told. Okay.
Right.
Now, so Spirit started in baby steps revealing to me, different ways to stop obsessing. But then Spirit then showed me a past life memory. And I was in meditation, and it's like Spirit took me back there into that time period. And it was like, at first I was shown, it was like a little village, some kind of little village with little huts. And I remember I was sneaking and hiding because I had abilities in that. We all have them, but I had them open in that lifetime. Okay. That was not accepted at all. And then the next thing that I was shown, it's like kind of like if you're watching a video, you see this clip, and then it automatically goes to this clip over here. You don't get to see the in between, but what's important for me to know. And so then all of a sudden I see myself, and I'm looking down at my feet. And as I'm looking down, I'm standing, there's like hay all around me on fire. And I realize that my arms are bound and they're burning me. And I can see village people like all in front of me. And they're like yelling, like, "Burn the witch, burn the witch."
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I had brought that in from a previous lifetime into this lifetime. So once I knew that, then I'm like, okay. It was so easy letting go. I didn't have OCD. I had brought something in from another lifetime in with me karmically that I needed to release it, because of the way I passed away. I did not release that.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's why one of the most important things in cutting cords and learning about who you are, to me, is having a past life reading, so that you can understand. Because I could not understand why I've not been married. I don't have any kids. I haven't even been in a long-term relationship until Michelle did my past life reading. I did do past life regression hypnosis as well after she did my reading. And I went back, and the girl that did my hypnosis, she kept saying, "What do you see? What do you see?" And in all of them, the main thing was I was alone. I was alone. And she kept trying to draw out of me something more. And I said, no. So when she brought me out of it, she goes, "I kept trying to draw out of you the most important things that affect you today from your past lives. And you just kept telling me you were alone, because that's what affected me now." But it was Michelle telling me that in the Victorian years, my dad died when I was 2, and she saw me at his wake when he was in our home being laid out. And I never, ever got over that. And so I am alone because I don't want to ever feel that again. But I also don't have a good relationship with my mother, because in that lifetime, my mother, to save our mansion, had to turn tricks. And she was never my mother. And so Michelle saw her, like, she'd come behind me on the couch and just put her face next to me. And that's all I got from her. And she blamed me. Like I was one of the reasons why she had to go do what she did to save our mansion. It was my fault. So once I learned that, I could cut those cords. And now, I mean, my relationship with my mother now is, okay, I understand, but I also had to learn that I'm only responsible for my actions and reactions. Everything else is on you. So as long as I'm okay with how I'm acting and reacting, that's on you.
Yep. Say it here all the time on the show. You cannot control how other people are to you or anything else, only how you react to it. You only control yourself. And my big thing is anger. I got to, I had to figure out where the heck that was coming from. I'm watching The Chosen right now, and I didn't want to see it for a long time because it really affected me as a kid to see 10 Commandments and things like this. And I didn't understand. It's just everything is so untouchable. Everything is just so mean and nasty and untouchable, and everybody is so, the way they want you to see everybody is not human. They're all very serene and angelic and divine and holy. And I believe the people are people. Even when you're still people, you have to feel. Why would anybody go through all that to come over here to have the human experience and not act like a human? I don't understand. Explain that to me. Why would you go through all that and go, yeah, but I'm not going to break a leg. I don't want a broken heart. I don't want to get close with anybody. I don't want to go through any hunger. I don't want to kiss somebody. I don't want to know what it feels like to have. Why would you deny people? The way people get so uptight. No, I have to have everything on a pedestal. Well, honey, let me tell you something. It just doesn't match reality. But I always really liked the pictures, went for the pictures, even as a young kid, which were hard to find, of Jesus smiling or laughing. Not until modern times did you start to see people doing things like that, right? Chosen goes more like that. It's more like that. And it's more like I always knew he was. Why? Because I'm pretty darn sure I was there.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
And there's so many. Yeah, I'm not even surprised, because everybody I get in touch with now that I've been getting in touch with for over the past 15 years has had a past life regression and has been there. They were either on the line as he walked by, they knew him in another town, and either felt like they didn't do enough to help him because they didn't quite get it. They were so scared by the Romans and the oppression that they just were, like I said earlier, it's not me. There's nothing I can do. I'm too small. Which is why in this one I'm coming out, I'm bombastic.
Oh
and
my God.
so many in my circle were there. You were there.
Feels right now. So that here we are again. Spirit, we're finding each other.
Yeah. I'm not even surprised, because it just keeps happening when I resonate with this kind of energy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what you believed or what you went through with your thing. All of this is coming out because, listen, I studied Sun Tzu. I studied Confucius. I studied Buddhism, name it, because I had a very eclectic life. I was an orphan, and got passed around, and, all these different people in this different, I didn't mean passed around like that. No, X that out. We'll edit that out. Producer. What I mean is I was lucky enough to live with a few families, coming through. And the way I was like you. It's like, yeah, I'm done here. I'm out. I'm going to do my own thing. Experience, fast trackers, right? And once we got to this certain point, for me, it was about 15 years ago. And by no way means in this ascension kind of thing or consciousness. I just started because of the conspiracy stuff. And I'm like, they're lying, and I want to know the facts. And I'm a researcher, which is why Dickens came in and said, you're always researching. You're good at it. You're doing this, you're doing that. And that was one of the first things. She's always in the book. You know what's going on. Voice your concerns, he says. Here they are, Mr. Dickens. I'm voicing them as loud as I possibly can. And I will not shut up, because these things are true. These things are true. Yeah. And when you break out of that, and you can see, go watch The Chosen. It's free. Get the app, watch it. This is even better. Watch it's called Bible Roundtable Backstory. So after every single episode, he goes, Dallas, the guy who directed it, it's a long story. But anyway, he has what he calls his safety net. There's religious safety net. So he's got a evangelical that he respected, that when he went to college and just teach him. He has a Jewish rabbi, and he has a priest. But they're all middle of the, I don't want to say middle of the road. I don't want to put words in mouth, but they're very flexible. They're not like the far end of it on any of the aisles, because once you get far end on either side, there's an issue. When you can stay in the middle and go, well, you'll have some Catholics that can't handle the fact that Mary has feelings, but then you'll have some Catholics that are so glad to see she's a little more human. When I was going through stuff with my sons, I would look at her. I have a great picture of her that's very kind of more contemporary, modern, and just human and pretty, just beautiful. I'd look at her and go, look, I know what you went through with your son. Tell me how to get through this. Can you help me get through this? Because that had to be hard to know and to let it. And this is what I'm doing. I know, and I have to let it. And then I can love him through it. And she says, hold the dustpan. Dustpans are for pieces. I don't want to pick up anybody else's pieces. This is what I'm getting from my mom, So I just said all of that to let people know that if you're going through this too, if you're bumping into people or you have a past life regression, when you go way back, and again, that's not as far back, you can go in other timelines, you can go on other planets, you can go in other dimensions. Don't limit yourself. The soul, right. We limit ourselves too much. Our soul is amazing. So that's what I'm getting. We're bumping into people all the time that have visions of that.
Right.
And you have one too. Where were you?
What? Me? Wait, now she's muted. You muted yourself.
Oh, here I am. It's me. So, Michelle, you think that you were there?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I know I was. Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So,
know it. Yep.
I don't know where, but I can describe it to you. So, well, honey, where was it? He knows. Where was it that I said I was at in that vision when I was walking with Jesus, and we ended up in like this area that was a fort? What? Jerusalem. Okay, so I remember walking, and I walked into, it was like this fort, and inside the fort, it was like, there was like 2 stories of, it was like it was supposed to be like apartments, like you would think of apartments, but the windows, where the windows and doors were, there was no windows, of course, right? There was nothing there. There was nothing hanging there. There was nothing. It was just open. There was like rectangle shape openings. That's it. And there were stairways that went up to go to the second floor. And in the center, I remember it was turning dark. And in the center, there were all like this big, huge bonfire that was creating light where we could see. And I remember looking down at my feet, and I remember I was wearing a white robe, and I could see part of like a white wrap going around my neck and face. When you look down, you can see what's in front of you. Partially. Yeah. And I could see that. And I remember I could see like part of a white sleeve, because, I was swinging my arms like this when you walk, and I could remember seeing that. And usually when I see myself, I did not wear shoes. I don't have on shoes. I did not have on shoes then. And I remember I looked up, and I was walking, and it was like, I knew I was walking towards where Jesus was at, but there was some kind of celebration, because there was like a lot of people. And so I was walking on past where all of the like housing was supposed to be. And I went past the bonfire. And as I looked up, there was another female that looked up, or was looking at me as she was walking the other direction. We were passing each other. And I remember she smiled at me. And it was kind of like she had that wrap on. Hers was brown. I don't know if the colors mean any specific thing, but I just know that hers was brown. She had on a brown robe. And I remember she had it pulled down enough to where I could see her mouth. And I remember she smiled at me, and the connection was like, I knew her. Mm-hmm. I don't know who she was, but when I was there, I knew her. Mm-hmm. And I kept walking, and then all of a sudden I came to where there were like these huge grapes. Like I've never seen grapes this big before. And I remember I heard Jesus laugh. I heard his laugh.
Oh, God, I would love it. It's beautiful. I have to.
Yeah, I will never forget it. Mm-hmm. And I remember he was over. So like if I'm standing here, he was over to my right. And he was over there with all kinds of other men. And they were laughing. But again, it's some kind of celebration. And so I'm over here, and I remember, okay, I was told that my name was Judy of the Essenes. I did not know what Essenes were until I started researching them. So I do know I was an Essene, and my name was Judy.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Same. Very similar. The thing is I took my son, when he was born, the youngest, the one who was in the accident, which is another reason I knew that he was going to do something with this. Either somebody was going to find something out, some kind of major healing. Look at all the different stuff we've been through. Like the brown recluse, I turned that into showing people how to deal with it. So now people don't have to go through what I went through. That's what you're supposed to do, I think. So I took him, I was at a psychic fair with a lot of my friends and stuff like that. And I do wire sculpting and metaphysical gemstones and things like that. So I'm at these psychic fairs and I'm helping, my friends and all these mediums and stuff. And he says, I've never had one of these Reiki, healing before. And I said, you better go with a good one because you're going to have some powerful stuff. And he goes, mom, mom stuff, oh, yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. I'm nothing special. And I'm like, no, son, he's got it. When he was born, he had Orion on his back. Orion, right down the center of his back. And as he goes through something, I watch one more pop up. Big major cycles that I see him going through, and finishes, another one will come. Just took him to another, whatchamacallit, and he's not somebody that gets into it. He understands it, but he's not active. He'll go with me or something and support, and he understands, but he's not, So he goes in there, and he goes in with two really good Reiki masters that I've known and, know of. They didn't know his history. And they come out from behind a curtain, tears running out of their eyes. Like, I know, right? I mean, this is how I react. And they're going, what do you mean? What do you mean? They're not understanding my reaction. I said, I expected it because I know. And she goes, he's got such a beautiful soul. And I'm like, dude, I know. I said, and I'm not just saying that because he's my son. He's always been the compassion, the care, the just everything, warrior. And I said, I know we've been through many lifetimes together. Who knows which way, husband, wife, brother, sister, friends, who knows? Because it's all over the place. It's just soul family that you're, But she says, I saw him. He was at cavalry standing on the line as he walked by. And the guilt from him, because he kind of past life regression, couldn't help it. It just kept tumbling, like the dike had opened up, and said that he was there. He knew Jesus. He was, he wasn't a disciple. There's so many. They say 12 disciples were so many, but it's basically followers. And then you have the ones that ascend to the top of the class kind of thing. So there's lots of followers, many. And a lot of them came there that day and stood along the line to encourage him along the way to, he was on one side and I was on the other, and I had no idea. And he asked to take his place and they wouldn't let him. They said, I'll let me go. Let me go. So many did. It's not like he stood out. So many were doing that. It's like, no. It's not that I'm trying to say that he was the one. No, many of us did. And, I remember I had a heavy clay pot, very long, very odd. It's like you couldn't set it down. Like it wasn't meant to sit down. It had like a point, kind of a clay pot to it. It was more of what I know now as like a water jug, which would have had rope and probably tied to a board that you would carry on like a stick to carry water from the well or wherever. I didn't know it at the time when I was seeing the vision. I saw, same as you, but I had like a blue, which is odd for them because especially if you have no money, everybody, or you were Jewish, whatever, and those things you didn't have, it was on a lot of color, so it was very odd. And I thought, okay, that's just a made up thing. Why would I be seeing blue? But it was a small little piece of blue, and I had taken it and I put it in the water and I said, let me, his face, and they wouldn't let me. No, they wouldn't let anybody, the whips and the stuff like that, and everybody back off. There's a lot of fear. But you'll hear a lot of those kind of things to where it's almost like people, our souls bruised so harshly I think that we all then in this great big collective group said, when he comes back, we're coming back to prepare the world as light workers. Many lives in between, I believe. What do you think?
You know what's interesting is when I had that dream about Michelle, what I left out is, but she knows this, but what I left out is when she came up behind me and said, don't look at me, but I have a plan. And I knew at that point it had something to do with religion and God and stuff. But I didn't know about her past life. So here she had the white on and she was on, and she like, I've got a plan. And I knew it had to do with God and religion and whatnot, but I still didn't know what the plan was. So I'm telling her all this thinking I had a whacked out freaking dream. What did I eat the night before I went to bed? And it was all true.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, but I do have a plan
Hey, I think we all do.
right now.
I think we all do, even though we don't know it. But how wild is it if you look back over this now? If we all went and had, everybody in here that's a light worker, been working on, and Edna for sure, I know you would fit this category easy, and so many of you froze probably too. A lot of the people here have had NDEs or been, granny witches for life, herbalists or whatever, all these different light paths, right? But I think too, if you went back and looked at their past life regression, and almost every one or every other one, they have been a fighter trying to beat something, a monster they couldn't, get, like endless wars, like Patton. Have you ever heard Through a Glass and Darkly? Okay. I'm a big military person, so I go at things in a military way. Patton was a firm believer. You couldn't move him on it. Reincarnation. He knew he had been a soldier in many lives, and he would go to these places and stand where he knew he had battled. And he wrote a poem called Through a Glass and Darkly. And it's about, I've been many warriors. I'd fight and give my life and die through many lifetimes, many different names, but always me. He remembered these things, and he was always going to be a warrior. That was his thing. He'd come in, he'd get and do it again and do it again and do it again. And I find that a lot of those people then come back as, like, say, a medium that now has to help people cross or help people communicate because they were involved in so much taking of lives. You have to make up for this once your soul heals. I believe I'm at that point where I'm thinking that. But here's another thing. I'm thinking too that if you went through all these people that feel like they may have been there or have past memory of many lives, they were persecuted or accused of doing something they did not do. And usually persecuted for it, because look where you went. You went from there, probably many lives in between, and then at some point in time was burned as a witch. Yeah. What a big 180 there.
Right.
But you were persecuted. I know I was. I hate in this lifetime being accused. Don't tell me I did something. Ask me. I'll explain what I did, but don't tell me I did something I didn't do. I'm very defensive on that. And it's just like, it's an old wound, right? Yep. It's like, you will not accuse me of something I didn't do. If I did it, I'll tell you. There will be, and if I'm mad and I did something, there will be no doubt in your mind. But don't come in here and tell me I did something. I don't care how little it is, Yep. And that's one of my cords I probably need to cut, but it comes from many lives of being accused of, probably killed, hung. I know I was hung. I can't stand up anything around my neck. Turtleneck, I'd just be like, and that's one of the things Native Americans, we wear what's called a liar's choker. That's what those bone with that whole thing all has, that comes from a medicine man when everybody came over and we had all these different tribes that didn't speak the languages, right? We were the ones who started with that's where sign language comes from. That's where it began, really started to begin, because they had to come up with a thing and they had to find a way that everybody could speak and be heard. So you get the talking feather, which is when you're holding the feather, you're talking. And then you pass it and you listen, everybody's heard. All these great little wonderful traditions that are multi-tribal. The choker's one of them. So when someone is sent to speak for the tribe, that's where the headdress comes from. That's why we get a little upset with people running around and, rain dancing with the headdress, because it's really kind of close to us. What it means is this, and tell me this isn't beautiful. in certain tribes, you do your circles, you make certain things in the tribe, and you get to certain places and complete certain things. You get what's rare, an eagle feather or a turkey feather, because there's so many things to be done with it, but it's also very symbolic. You collect these like gold stars in a classroom. Okay. Okay. Then when a chief or a person to speak is elected, that chief, they gather up all the feathers of all the people in the tribe and they make the headdress. The chief then wears the headdress to the meeting, to the council. He's taking all the people with him and they're all around his, crown chakra. And he's carrying all the people. He then has a liar's choker, which everybody has made and put their energy into it. And if they are lying, it tightens. You must speak the truth. That is something that there was never a word for liar, two-faced, things like that until all this came in. And then they came up with two-faced and liar and all these others. But that's what the choker is about. And I can't even wear that because I get flashbacks.
I was also hung as a witch.
You get that?
Yeah. Well, I would say one other thing I talked about before was that's very important to understand your lifetime now is your birth chart, because I believe that each lifetime, as Michelle alluded to before, we have a soul contract. So we go in and we decide what we're going to learn, what we're going to do, what our purpose is. And so until recently, when I first had my birth chart read by Kitty, a good friend of ours, I was like, okay, I had no freaking clue what she was talking about. All I got out of it was that I am constantly trying to prove my value. So then I really get into it and I start teaching a class with her called Optimize Your Energy with the Moon and the Stars. I'm the moon, she's the stars. And so we start learning more about our charts. And like I kept having these epiphanies in class, and I'm like, that's why I do what I do. So I would highly recommend you at least get the true basics about your chart. Like, I didn't even know I was more than a Scorpio. I didn't know I had a moon and a rising sign. I didn't even know what that meant, because that's not what we're taught. So once I learned my sun, moon, and rising, and then I learned my wound, my Chiron wound, that's when I realized what triggers me and why I've lived my life up until my awakening the way I did. Because my wound is in Aries in the second house. I'm always trying to prove my value by doing what everybody thinks I'm supposed to do, not what I want to do, what I think that everybody wants me to do. Go to college, make money, blah, blah, blah. Get married, have kids. I tried to do most of that. Then you learn your north and your south node. Your south node is what you came in the expert at. Your north node is your sole purpose. Now you know what you're striving for.
That makes perfect sense. See, that's why I was connected with you guys, because these are all the missing pieces that I don't have the knowledge on, but I know it's important.
Yeah.
So again, I reach out and I go, send me those people, because I want everybody to hear everything so that they can go, oh, that's my slot. That resonates with me. That's with me too. Because gosh, we need every tool we can get in our toolbox right now, to get through this. And if you're here and you've made it through this, this far with my channel, I mean, because I'm an acquired taste, there's no doubt about it. I don't bend for anybody. I don't put on airs. I don't buy subscribers. I have time. I don't put tags on my show. I know my spirit guides are going to get it where they need to go. I just know. And I'm not doing it for the money. What are you kidding?
Right.
I'm not doing it for the, they always think when you write a book, it's like, oh, she wrote a book. She did it because she wrote a book. Come on, guys. It's you write the book to get out the information. Right. You're not making money. I mean, sure, every once in a while I look and hey, $15, I'll take it. but that's after everybody else gets a piece. YouTube takes 40%. Of anything, any super chat or anything else, or
They
any
even
of these
take
little.
more than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the time
Double
they're
chat,
done.
we don't even get 50% of it. And there's no, like, you can't even, there's no paperwork. You can't tell. It's just arbitrary.
And it's got to be a certain amount before they dump it. So it's every 3 months. But again, I tell people, if you give a super chat, if you do, it goes right back into this channel. Because right now I can maintain this, and I pick this over eating sometimes. If I had to pay the $25 StreamYard and the internet and stuff like that, my part of the internet, I mean, I've done it, but I get such a joy out of putting together these intros. I have the longest intro in the inner tubes, and if it's not, I can add on. Trust me. Because here's the thing. I'll put it in the chat. Look, if you can't stay through some smiley animals and some beautiful music, because we celebrate creativity. We celebrate the people who make the memes. We celebrate the picture, draw the pictures. We celebrate the people who make the composers who make the music. All these people are light workers, whether they know it or not, because the dark side cannot create.
Right.
And they cannot. They repeat patterns and templates. And it's happened that way over centuries. Prove me wrong with science. Try it. So here's the thing. Creativity, not all art is good. I'm not saying that, because what I'm saying is when you're creating, you're meditating in a way, you're grounding, you're connecting in, you're using that. And so many of us, I call them like life trippers, where we keep coming in, keep going. I can do it again. I'll do it again. We're crazy over there, because we remember everything. We forget when we get here because of that memory loss coming in, because it would be cheating if you had all the answers.
Right.
So, and it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. But, we take all these extras on and stuff. But, I want to try blacksmithing. And now I'm going to make candles. And then I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do it really good for a short amount of time. Then I'm done. Now I'm going to do the next thing. And then I'm going to have 50 other things going all at the same time, because we're nuts when we're ascending. Yeah. Are you guys feeling like that too? You've got so many irons in the fire, and you're not worried. It's like the guy spinning plates, but you're like, yeah, I'm not worried if one breaks. Right. We're all doing that now. I wonder how many other people listening to this are going through that,
Right.
Because we're not bogged down. And I have a friend, her name is Pamela. She just opened she's a Reiki, so many things. She's wonderful. And she came on the show and she told everybody, stay above the damn line. What do you mean stay above the damn line? What are you talking? And she shows me the chart, and everything below the line, greed, hate, regret, lost love, this, that, just all of these. And they got darker as they went down, right? Above the line, joy, happiness, smile, all these happy feelings and happy, free, all these wonderful things. She said, this stuff can't survive up here.
Right.
Just stay up here. How high you want to go. We got
Right.
some lazy people that'll just ride that line and then go up and come back down again. That's okay. You're feeling your way out. And then we have people that are just up here and they're looking at everybody go, look at all those line riders down there. Oh, dipped again, but that's okay. That's what we do. But I think a lot of ways, ladies, that causes ghosts. Because if you have so much below that line, so much emotional baggage, you think about that, you have so many, it's like having a big coat with lots of pockets filled with every feeling is a rock. And you kind of got to let go of those rocks before you get to that point. It's not that you can't when you're at that point. It's just, a little lower. And I believe my story about my dad that I told you, really, really, I don't know if maybe I should tell. I feel like I should tell you. So tell me what you think of this, Michelle, because Steph heard a little bit about that. So my dad, World War II veteran, shell shock, they called it back then, alcoholic, lots of wives, lots of kids, marry, get him pregnant, cheat, set up the next one, leave in the wake of, the next. He was one of those, I can't look back. I just got to keep moving forward. Next thing. I get it. I'm not excusing it, but I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I was the one kid, the youngest, that looked and said, when I went and I saw a medium And my mom came through and she told me I had to sit on my hat about my sons. And typical me, I'm like, okay, so I can't do anything. I just got to love them through it. Okay. It's going to be hard stuff. Okay. Well, let me get another project. How's dad doing? It's like, and she said, I don't want to talk about him. I'm not done with my grandkids yet. You're kind of laughing through it. And she says, I'll go down and get him later. And I said, oh my gosh, no, don't go there. This is about 25 years ago. And I'm like, no, don't go there. And they just both laughed. Her and the medium have a nice laugh. And they go, no, that's not, no. He's just resonating at a lower vibration. And I'm like, okay, that makes better sense, And so when she was done, true to what she said, she went and got him. The medium's laughing. And she says, she literally went down and pulled him up like by his ear, like his collar. This is how I'm seeing it. But he can't pick up his head. His soul was so damaged by the things he had done and the pain that he was feeling and the things that he had done. Nobody's praying for this guy. Nobody's sending him energy. I know it. They're spitting on his grave. And, and that's their thing. Rightfully so. Believe me, they were justified. Again, they're not out of character for doing that. So anyway, I'm like, look, I'll send you happy energy and love. Because you were my dad. If we were in a soul a family and we agreed to do this, I already agreed to forgive you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because being angry at somebody's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to get sick. So I'm just going to let that go. How'd that be? And I'm going to start praying for you and giving you good energy. 2 years later, I go back and I see another medium. And that one happened to be, there was like a medium convention. We're all there. And she comes up and we start talking. And she goes, as I'm standing here talking to you, she goes, your mom's here, right? And I said, yeah, she saw a chance. Here she comes. I told you about that past she has, she's used to it over the years. And she says, but she's got somebody with her. And she says, she's bringing them in to talk to you. And I said, okay, who is it? And I said, give it to me. And she says, well, he's standing here. He's standing up straight and he's got his uniform on. I don't know what it is. She goes, I don't know anything about the military. I said, what color is it? And is it fancy or does he look like he's got in the jungle or is he going to a party? That class A's. And she says, well, no, it's a nice one with the medals and stuff on it. And his chest is out like this. And I said, could be two people. Can you give me anything? And she said, hold on. He's trying to talk. He says, it's been so long. And we gave him time. And he said, I would not have been a good example for your sons. I said, that'd be my daddy. Uh-huh. Now he found a way, something to be proud of. He was a good soldier. He portrayed that. He was showing me. I'm proud. And at the same time, he acknowledged the fact that he would have been a bad influence on my sons, that he was not happy and he saw the error of his ways. And he sees my sons. All of those things in those few words. And I'm like, I'm going to keep doing it, Dad, because it's working. Now, if that isn't a lesson for everybody here, what do you think about that one? That's pretty amazing.
It is. Well, here's what I can say. Actually, I'm going through this kind of the similar situation, not the same, but similar, where I'm having to forgive. My dad, I'm at my dad's right now. And I love my dad. He's my dad. But my dad has always been a very hateful, nasty, narcissistic person. But I love him. It's hard for me to be around sometimes. Okay. Now he's ill, very ill now. And so we had to leave Florida and come up here. Well, I shouldn't say had to. That's what I chose. Because I still want to be here for my dad. I want my dad to see and understand that I love him. Hold on.
I got you. Take your breath. I get it. I can feel it.
Oh. Because it's like all my life I just wanted approval. Wanted him to see that I'm loved. I'm not a doormat to be stepped on or abused in any way. I just love him. I love him and I forgive him. And that's been something that I've been going through the past few months myself, is understanding that because my dad keeps coming to me while he's sleeping. His spirit keeps coming to me when I'm awake and gives me messages. Just like a few nights ago, he came to me here.
Please get close.
Yeah. And he said, Shell, that he calls me Shell. He said, Shell, I just want to say goodbye. And I told my husband and I told my stepmom. And that next morning, he started declining. And started getting very confused and everything. But anyways, back to your question. So yes, it is very important that we forgive. It is very important on an energetic field. Okay, 2 ways, because one, we have to make sure that we set our spirits free ourselves. Okay, we have to set our spirits free so that we don't continue karmic cycles. Okay, lifetime after lifetime. But at the same time, it's also very important because think about this. Now, and Stephanie is a paranormal investigator. So I know what I have witnessed all my life, moving here, moving there, always having, it's almost like energetic impact that people leave.
Yes.
So there's been times that we had moved into an apartment or a house to rent or something like that, and it just be like negative, nasty energy ready to attack. And then come to find out, it was someone who was really nasty that lived there prior to us. Really, really nasty, really mean. Okay. And then other places we would move to, serene, wonderful, beautiful energies around. And over time, I began realizing, okay, wait a minute. Every single thing we do. So every time something awesome happens in our life and we're like, yes, or something happens abruptly to us, or there's fear and we're in that screaming mode. We are leaving an energetic imprint.
100%. 100%. To the point where that leftover energy, we spoke on this last night, Steph, we were on fire. Lizzie Borden house. All of the talking, everything else has created this this being of energy that was never alive before, but is becoming alive with all of the pulling back and the constant talking about it and the bringing it out and the Ouija boards and the people going in and everything else, and all the energy that she left there after what happened to her. And again, I don't think she did it. I did like research study on her. I must have done 8 hours full circle. I left it to the chat, but I think she knows who did it. But I don't think she did it. But that's just what I came up with. There's too much stuff that went on after that you don't read in the papers. You have to go really back to what the people on the streets were saying at that time. It's like, hey, what about that guy that came out of the back door? We don't want to know about that. We're over here. That's what happened with that. Like, I'm not saying she was innocent. I think she knew. There was just too many things, like something was up and she just moved out of the way. But and she wouldn't speak on it because she was either afraid for herself or some other kind of thing. But I don't think she actually did the hacking. But so that's a good example. Amy Allen is a real big one that'll tell you a lot about that. She's amazing. She's got my creations hanging in her home.
I love Amy.
Amy's the deal.
Oh my
Amy's the deal. She's a real thing. And right now she's put so much out. She said, Cisco, I know this is going to kill me. And I said, honey, she says, look, I came in here to do this. She said, I knew. My dad told me, everything that she knew. And she gets very ill because she's a really physical medium. She lets them come inside to talk to, and that can be very, 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 you guys know. But I mean, to the point where sometimes it's a few times put her in the hospital. She's coming out of these investigations and people are just flicking channels and going, well, she's got a funny face. She made a funny face or she did this. I'm like, you have any idea the sacrifice that people are doing, light workers and people that do this real stuff. And you have to walk with somebody who's dead and they're stuck in their death state, trying to show you where they're buried, where their one bone or a tooth might be, and the whole reason they're doing it, case after case after case after case, that I've talked to many people about is they're just doing it because the family won't live on. And
Yeah.
they're more concerned with them. They're over there. Don't worry about that. The universe will take about that. Please live your life. I love you. I'm fine.
Mhm.
That's what the dead are dying to tell us.
Right.
Not say you don't go after and you don't do, but don't make it your, and for you, love, I can tell you, I get it. And the whole time you're talking, I got my right ear guy, and all my life he's been with me, and he's saying, tell her the story. I'm going to tell you the story. There's a guy, his name is Vic. He just did a fantastic, if you're into podcasts, he just did a great Sean Ryan. He now rescues children from human trafficking. This is how serious we're about to get. Okay. The reason he does this, and he and his wife do this, they go into places that you would not believe and get these kids. Okay. And this isn't the one from Sound of Freedom, but that's another, there's so many people do. Oh yeah. And it's for
Oh, my-
real. Yeah. I have good friends who are real good friends with Jim Caviezel. And I was on that from when he even just started thinking about doing the movie. It's a real deal. They had to cut it back quite a bit. Trust me. But these things go on, and I know you guys trying to find missing people and stuff like that. You're going to hit that wall, because every psychic medium I know that has been in this for decades tell me, Cisco, once I get to that one part where I know who's doing it, but there's no way, because they're too big. It's the number one commodity. You think it's guns and drugs?
Right. It is. Yeah.
Human trafficking.
Yeah.
So this man who is, I have so many heroes. I don't pick them idly either. And he got like he did because he had a father. They used to tie him to the bed and abuse him sexually. And then he would sit at the kitchen table and drink beer with a loaded gun pointed at his head, and kept hitting him with the gun. So if you tell anybody, I'll shoot you in the head. I'll put my gun next to you, and I'll tell everybody you shot yourself with my gun. Nobody's going to believe you. This man worked for the authorities, by the way. Okay. All the kids in the family, and I could go on and on. And he does. It's on Sean Ryan. Go watch it, and then tell me evil doesn't walk.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this man, because of that, became very much like us when we go against it. And I'm like, nobody's ever going to do that to me again. He lived through it. He tells the story of how they were all hiding in the closet with his mom, and he could hear him coming. And that's where he learned to pray. She prayed the blood of Jesus over the door that he couldn't see. The man could not enter the room. He said, that's when I knew. He said the man was cussing and yelling and grunting and screaming. He could not enter that room when my mom was praying the blood of Jesus over that door. Mm-hmm. And we were all in there crying. We got out, we got away, and this is how they survived. So he learned he is now the number one fastest on record to take away a pointed gun at your face. He's the fastest on record. He can disarm you and take it out before you even know what happened. And he got that way because as a 7-year-old boy, he said, nobody's ever going to do this to me again. Now, fast forward, his dad's in the hospital. He gets a call from his sister. Dad's dying. He goes to the hospital. He didn't want to do it. He goes. And he says he hears this voice outside his head, because now he's been doing this a while, and he started a ministry, and he's helping youth, and he continues on. Not just that, he does other things. And he goes in and he talks to his dad, and and he says, Dad, he says, we've been through a lot of stuff, but I got to tell you, I love you. You're my dad, you're my father. And for some reason, I think that we were supposed to do these things. I became like that song that's out now, Bulletproof, because of the things you did to me. I am who I am. And I said, I have to love you because you're my father. And he said, I'm going to do something for you, Dad. And he says, what's that? What are you going to do for me? He goes, well, now you can't do anything about it. So I'm going to sit right here, and I'm going to tell you I love you, and I'm going to read to you from the Bible. He did it every day until he died. And right before he left, he said, I love you too, son. And that's how he went out. He said it was the hardest thing he ever did, but it was the most freeing thing he ever did. The next gift I'm going to give everybody is a little movie called The Ravine. Have you seen it?
No.
Okay, you're going to see it because it is free on YouTube, and it is absolutely recommended for any light worker or any person that is trying to get through. I'm going to show you the trailer now. I'll have to cut it out when I put it back on. So if you're watching this on the replay and you don't see it, it's because YouTube maybe cut it out. But we're going to show it tonight live and see if we can get away with it. Let me see if I can share the screen.
I had
Let's see the
chills.
trailer. It's free on YouTube. What did you say, sweetie?
I said I had chills. So whatever this is,
Yeah, here it comes. Here, yeah, it's need to know information. That's for sure. Most people don't get through the first 5 minutes because you see some things that this guy is going to do and you're trying to figure it out. But just trust me, watch it. I think I've got the right thing. Let me see if I can do this right. Videos. Okay. Let me see if I can get it up here. Okay, that's the wrong screen. Okay. Hot Mess Express rides again. 1 second. We'll get it. One more try here.
And after we do this, I'm probably going to have to drop.
Okay. Yep. We'll do that. We'll go and right after this, but I'm not until I get you guys to promise to come back again. Can I do that?
oh yes.
Will you please come back again? That would be
Yes.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I got it. And we'll do what we said before. I think tonight was important for us to just talk and let everybody get to know you guys, and then definitely get you to come back again. Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can get this up.
Please forgive me.
Bill, Danny just left me a really strange message. I need you to get a hold of him.
Danny? Rachel? Anybody home?
Chris, where are your mom and dad?
I can't look for Mom.
Hey, Mom, what's going on?
You need to sit down, sweetheart. Danny killed Rachel and one of the boys last night.
Hey, little man, don't be running. I love you, Renee.
My name is Detective Ben Lee. Danny committed these killings.
You did not know Danny the way I did.
We all have one question before us today, and that question is, what meaning will we attach to these events?
This is very common for witnesses to be people with dicey backgrounds.
We need to know all the facts.
Promise me you won't hurt him, Mitch.
Where is he?
We all experience darkness. Ask yourself something. Do you want to be guided by hate?
We've all made mistakes.
It's powerful. It is so powerful. And I'll tell you why. I got to stop it on my end. Hold on 1 second. Come on. There we go. It's powerful because that was, gosh, I can't remember her name now. It was right there. The lady you saw, at the end. She's a light worker. She's a medium. And she says to her husband that they're like deacons at this little church, and he's the deacon and she's the, caretaker, whatever. She goes out in the community and helps. It's a light worker. Powerhouse. She's a little howitzer, tank. She doesn't care. She just goes and she lays it out. And she knows because the blonde woman that you saw standing there, she goes in her closet, prays all the time. She asks for help. And she gets the message. She says, I'm going to the family. We're going to sort this out. And we're going to go through each one and see their vantage point, how things affected them, and teach them how to let it go. And it is the most amazing movie you've ever seen. It's all about the spiritual warfare and the battle and everything that's going on now, and how you have that. Literally, everybody remembers the cartoons of the little devil and little angel on your shoulder. Mm-hmm. That conscience, that's the way, that conscious. We all have choices. And when you make those choices, that's what takes you down that road. And sometimes you can back up and go back the other way. You can always back up and go the other way. You can just take it. You can't back up. You can go the other way. You can change lanes. You can do that. And on a dime. And every answer in this movie is love. Love and light wins. Please watch it, because if you're going through something that's hard, you can always look at somebody else that's been through it and you think, man, that was even harder. You know, it doesn't take away from what you're going through or lessen the pain you're feeling. What it tells you is if they did it, I can do it too. I just have to look and find that. Sometimes you have to reach out to lovely ladies like this to get that strength and that understanding. So many things you guys have said tonight have put pieces in this puzzle, this cover to my box. You know, I've got Scotch tape pieces and glued pieces, ones I've hammered and went, wait a minute, that wasn't right. Let's turn that around. And we're all trying to see the cover to the box. I don't need to know the big picture. I just know if people like you are in this world with me, we're going to be okay. We're going to win this thing. And I need you to come back so we can continue these conversations. And next time, maybe we can show them a little bit about what you do. But I wanted them to I thought tonight, let's get to know each other. Let them get to know you. Go and subscribe to these channels. These are life lessons. These are tools you need as a light worker. Please go subscribe to these channels and get to know these wonderful ladies. Steph, Michelle, thank you so much. Namaste to both of you. Thank you. What would you like to say before you go?
I just wanted to say one thing. Thank you so much for inviting us. I mean, this is just absolutely.
It was them.
It was meant to be.
It's beautiful.
We know it was meant to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to say something else. Yes, we have open abilities, as do many. We all have these abilities within us. And I don't have all the answers. I will never have all the answers. Okay. But what I can promise, because I'm still learning every day.
We all are, baby.
Right. I'm learning with you. We're learning together. And I like to see things as like teamwork. You know, we work together. We try to figure this out together. Because I don't have all the answers.
I want to leave everybody with one thing.
Please do.
I want you to speak the life you want into being. Decide the life you want and live it, and speak it into being. And when you hear yourself or you hear somebody else say, "I want," or "if," or "maybe," or "I hope," no. Take those words out of your vocabulary. You have
love it.
Will. There was a young lady that stopped and saw me yesterday. She brought, I create calendars, yearly calendars with my photography.
Go ahead.
Came to my house to pick it up, and she says she's having a lot of issues. And she said, "I hope by April my health will be back on track." I said, "No. By April, your health will be back on track. That's how you speak it."
These, I'm showing a couple of things, a few things that they do. These are, Steph, these are called
crystal grids.
So go on her website, go on the Facebook pages, and, go there. I know you have Instagram and everything else. Everything is in the link chain in the description. Go in there, subscribe. We're going to talk more about these. We let it flow tonight, guys. Spirits guided this. Spirits got us together, and spirits got us to say the things that needed to be said. You know, we always think we're doing something for a thing, but I've gotten to the point where it's like, I'm just going to show up and see what happens, because, we make plans, we make notes, and we make things, but this has been amazing. Please come back again. I don't know how often, but I would love to have you back at least once a month. I would like to do this a once a month yearly thing. And I'm going to tell you now, if you have any holiday shows where we were talking last night that it's possible they might do a show on Christmas, because a lot of people are alone, where we stay all day and we pop in and we tell stories. I could do this for hours. And yes. Do what?
That's going to be us.
Oh, yeah. And let's do it. And honey, I see this with your dad. You're doing great. You know that this is what you're supposed to be doing. Please watch the review. Please watch it, but I need you to watch it with somebody that you love.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
They're showing me hold a hand. You know the hand they're talking about. It's none of my damn business whose hand you're holding. So I'm just passing it along. But they said there's parts it's going to be, and you're going to need to squeeze a hand. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. And I love you both. Please go and subscribe to these channels. Ladies, this has been amazing. We're going to take it out with a couple of laughs. This is Pieces of Laughter from the Masters. This is a wonderful artist who took Renaissance art and made it a little funnier. I hope you enjoy it. Love the music. Thank you guys again. Listen, be blessed, and a new good part of the family. Part of the family.
Excellent. Thank
So
you.
thank you so much for so much of your time. Listen, guys, everybody in here, hit the like on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. We have fun on this channel. We tell it like it is. We don't put any airs on. You know what I mean? Just a little music and fun. Good night, everybody. Keep your feet under the covers. Keep your closet doors shut, because there are things that go bump in the night. Good night and be blessed. I love you all. Good night, everybody. Here we go. Good night.